Chapter 603. I'm sure everyone has come here today for me, she said. At this moment, a wave of graceful voice sounded out faintly from the small pavilion. The voice was pleasing to the ear, and seemed to carry a wave of temptation, causing the faces of the cultivators in the surroundings to flush red. Her voice is seductive? Ning Tian frowned slightly when he heard the voice. However, Ning Tian was not affected by this seductive voice. He had always been very calm. If this heavenly fish princess wanted to use her voice to cause any changes in him, it would be ridiculous. Even if this heavenly fish princess sat on him, he would not move. Today, I just want to choose a good husband. I hope everyone can perform well. The seductive voice came from the small pavilion again. This time, it was not only the voice that came from the small pavilion. The most important thing was, a slender white leg was also unconsciously stretched out. In an instant, it ignited the most primitive desire of the surrounding cultivators. Hiss, damn it! I can play with this leg for a year. I love it. Don't say anything. Sister Heavenly Fish, look at me. The surrounding cultivators suddenly became very excited. Their eyes turned red as they stared at the slender white leg. Some of them even had a nosebleed. This heavenly fish princess is not a fish, but a human leg. Ning Tian raised his eyebrows slightly when he saw this scene. A trace of doubt flashed across his eyes. This heavenly fish princess has the strongest bloodline in the heavenly fish clan. Naturally, she can decide who her body belongs to. No one can control her. TSK. Kid, you are really convinced. However, it's just a pair of legs. Do these cultivators have to be so excited? Oh, Uncle Qin, why are you still staring at it? Ning Tian's teasing voice came from the side. Ahem, Qin Luo coughed awkwardly. Then, he looked at Ning Tian and said seriously, I am just admiring it. Kid, don't tell me you don't like this leg. I really don't like it. Ning Tian touched his chin and said seriously, her legs are not as long as my wife's, and she is not as fair as my little wife's. Why should I like her? Keep bragging. Qin Luo snorted, obviously not believing it. If you don't believe me, then so be it. Do you really think that everyone is like you and doesn't want a wife? Uncle Qin. Ning Tian spread his hands and said with a look that said, What can you do to me? Seeing this, Qin Luo gritted his teeth. This stinking brat was simply rubbing salt on the wound. He was too heartless. Master, it's starting. At this moment, Ling Qing's cold voice sounded from the side. Only then did the two fellows stop teasing each other. Shouldn't the ruler of the Sky Fish Empire be in charge of such a huge matter? Seeing more and more cultivators step onto the selection stage, Ning Tian frowned and thought of a crucial problem. Shoo, lower your voice. However, at the mention of this, Qin Luo's expression turned serious. After gesturing for Ning Tian to lower his voice, he spoke slowly. I heard that the ruler of the Sky Fish Empire is merely a pawn in Princess Tianyu's hands. The real mastermind is actually Princess Tianyu. Would a pawn dare to interfere in such a matter? Pawn. Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. What's the purpose of Princess Tianyu's consort selection? That's unknown. Qin Luo spread his hands with a look of indifference. Anyway, we just need to enter and find out the structure of the palace. Hearing this, Ning Tian's face darkened. Qin Luo didn't even know what Princess Tianyu wanted to do, yet he dragged him here. Was he sure that he wasn't here to harm him? Ahem. Go, Ning brat. As if sensing Ning Tian's resentful gaze, Qin Luo coughed dryly and hurriedly pushed Ning Tian over. Master, all the best. Ling waved her little fist at Ning Tian. These two, Ning Tian shook his head and strode towards the big stage. At this moment, there were already many cultivators present. However, Ning Tian seemed to be the only human cultivator. Humph! A mere human dares to compete with us for Princess Tianyu? Seeing Ning Tian, a human cultivator, enter the stage, the group of Heavenly Fish Clan experts snorted coldly. In their eyes, a human with a human head and a human body was extremely ugly. How dare this ugly thing compete with them? What a joke! Everyone, why don't you share your specialties with me? Princess Tian Yu's voice rang out from the small pavilion. I'm a craftsman. My muscles are full. I will definitely make Princess Tian Yu happy. My fishing whip is my specialty. It's just a fishing whip. It's not even as long as my hand. Around them, the group of experts from the Heavenly Fish clan were all talking about their specialties. Finally, it was Ning Tian's turn. I don't have any specialties. I'm just a little more handsome than you guys. Ning Tian spread out his hands and spoke the truth with a straight face. No matter what, he was more handsome than these burly men, right? Did you hear that? This human cultivator actually said that he's handsome? Wow, he's so shameless. He doesn't even have a fishtail and he dares to say that he's handsome? Shameless bastard. He's so ugly and he dares to say that he's handsome? I'm shocked. When Ning Tian said this sentence, the reactions of the people around him were completely different from what he had imagined. From time to time, gasps of shock could be heard. These people of the Heavenly Fish race had not expected this human to be this shameless. This human cultivator, I'm sorry. You fit the aesthetic standards of the Heavenly Fish clan. Princess Tian Yu's apologetic voice rang out from the pavilion. Ning Tian was dumbfounded on the spot. This Heavenly Fish princess, was really blind. This was the first time Ning Tian heard someone call him ugly. Qin Luo, this guy is teasing me? The corners of Ning Tian's mouth twitched. His resentful gaze landed on Qin Luo. Cough, cough. At the side, Qin Luo coughed awkwardly. He, who had made a solemn vow, did not expect that the Heavenly Fish clan's aesthetic standards were the complete opposite. You've shocked the surrounding cultivators with your ugliness. You've shocked Princess Tian Yu with your ugliness. Reward, illusion card. Use the illusion card and you can transform into the most handsome person in the eyes of the Heavenly Fish clan. Right then. The system's voice sounded in time. Illusion card? Ning Tian's face turned black. He did not expect that he, who had always been handsome, would need the system to help him become handsome. How dare you say that I'm ugly? Let's see if I'm not handsome enough. Ning Tian gritted his teeth and said in his heart, System, use the illusion card. Also, activate the divine charm physique. Illusion card. Use successful. Author's words. There are more updates. Chapter 604. F***CK. That bastard kicked me. Qin Luo cursed as he climbed up from the corner of the wall. Then, he raised his head and looked into the room. Ning Tian was already sitting next to the chair and looking at him calmly. Ahem, little Ning, you're back. That's fast. Qin Luo coughed dryly to cover up his embarrassment when he recalled that he had just scolded Ning Tian. Not bad. This is the blueprint of the palace that you wanted. Ning Tian did not dwell on this guy's bad words. After all, he was satisfied with the kick just now. He took out a blueprint of the palace and handed it to Qin Luo. I didn't expect you to really get it. Qin Luo's eyes widened and he was delighted. Then, he opened the blueprint and looked at it carefully. After a while. Not bad. With this, I'll definitely be able to borrow that thing. Qin Luo kept the blueprint and smiled. He came over and put his hand on Ning Tian's shoulder. Little Ning, I have a good idea. You attract their attention and I'll go. No way. Ling, come. Master will teach you a skill. Ning Tian rolled his eyes at Qin Luo. Then, he pulled Ling to the side and left Qin Luo there. Tsk, how heartless. Qin Luo curled his lips. Don't say that. If you want to do it, hurry up. My disappearance did not alert Princess Tian Yu. At least, I can delay her for a day and a night. If you waste time and fail to steal it, don't blame me. Ning Tian looked at Qin Luo indifferently. You didn't alert the enemy? You even delayed Princess Yu too for a day and a night? What method did you use? Qin Luo was curious when he heard this. Well, of course. Ning Tian wanted to say it, but he remembered that Ling was still at the side. He immediately shut his mouth. You don't have to care about what method I used. Just do it. Ling was still a child. He could not lead her astray. All right, wait for my good news. Qin Luo spread out his hands and stepped into the void, disappearing in the blink of an eye. At this moment, his aura seemed to have become stronger. It seemed that Qin Luo was going to get serious. But that's none of my business. Come to Spirit, Master is going to teach you a few moves of the Cold God incantation, Ning Tian murmured to Spirit as a chill appeared in his hand. Master, I've already learned it, Spirit said indifferently while playing with Ice Blade 6 in her hand. What about this move? I will too. What about this move? Yes. Hearing his disciple's words, Ning Tian was speechless. Oh my God, what kind of talent is this? Luckily, I was born early. No, if I have to say something, I'm a few million years younger than Ling. Forget it, it's not important. Spirit, since you already know the proper moves, let's teach you something more proper. For example, this move, Heavenly Maiden Scatters Flowers. Use the ice fog to freeze the opponent's eyes and then use the sweeping kick. Do you understand? Understood. Spirit's eyes lit up as though she had arrived at a new world, and this move, Monkey Steals Peach, more proper lessons were going on. At this moment, in the Heavenly Fish Palace, there was an undercurrent. A few hours later, clang. Princess Tian Yu's face, which was already red, was now red with anger. She glared coldly at the wet wooden chair that she had smashed with her palm. She clenched her silver teeth tightly in anger. Damn it! How dare you use a trick to fool me? And, how dare you steal my heaven and earth cauldron at this moment? Princess Heavenly Fish's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She had just been spending the night with the Langjun in her illusion, but she was immediately alarmed when the peerless treasure in the palace was touched. It was also at this moment that she realized that the Langjun she was supposed to spend the night with was actually a chair. In other words, she, the princess of the Heavenly Fish dynasty, was facing a chair. This was a disgrace. It seems that these human cultivators are getting bolder. She gritted her teeth. The white and tender skin on her originally naked body began to wriggle in a terrifying manner. As it wriggled, one could even see the dense white bones. Moreover, within the white bones, there were actually numerous sea worms. It seems that I have to catch another man for nourishment. Princess Heavenly Fish's eyes flashed coldly. That's right. The reason why she wanted to catch this Langjun was to satisfy her needs. Secondly, she wanted to kill him and use his skin. Langjun, is it? I will find you eventually. But, if anyone dares to touch my heaven and earth cauldron, they are courting death. Princess Heavenly Fish snorted. Then, she put on her clothes and dashed out of the palace. At this moment, in the Heavenly Fish Imperial Palace, several terrifying auras were quietly awakened at this moment. Seal the Heavenly Fish Imperial City. No one is allowed to enter or leave. Princess Heavenly Fish shouted. The entire Heavenly Fish Imperial City was no longer peaceful. In the inn. Ling, you must remember every word Master says. Kill him when he is sick. If you can kill him, don't. Ning Tian was about to teach Ling a very shocking battle technique. However, before he could finish, he felt a rumble. Rumble. All kinds of powerful auras came from the direction of the palace. Looks like Uncle Qin managed to steal it. I wonder what he stole to cause such a commotion among the Heavenly Fish tribe. Feeling the aura and hearing the chaos outside, Ning Tian could not help but frown slightly. Host has completed the second task. Help Qin Luo steal the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Time Scissors Energy Completion, 40%. At this moment, the system's voice rang in his mind. Is this one of the tasks? Hearing this, Ning Tian raised his eyebrows slightly. F***CK. He's coming, he's coming. Ning brat Ling, hurry up and run. At this moment, Qin Luo's voice rang outside the inn. Then, Qin Luo appeared in front of the two of them. Why are you still here? Aren't you running? Seeing Qin Luo, Ning Tian suddenly realized that something was wrong. Of course I'm running. However, when I thought of you guys, I turned back. I can't betray my teammates. Am I that kind of person? How is it? Are you touched? Qin Luo chuckled. F*CKU. Why don't you just run away? F*CK. They don't know that we are in the same group. Hearing this, Ning Tian's face darkened instantly. I'm not touched, star. Humph. Finally, I've caught you guys. At this moment, outside the inn, a cold snort was heard. In an instant, a furious attack came crashing down on the inn. Delivered at midnight. Chapter 605. Boom. At the same time, Ling moved her small hand and a cold aura appeared on her hand. Instantly, it formed an ice shield above the three of them. Crack. However, Ling's current strength was limited. When the ice shield appeared, it only lasted for a moment before it cracked. At the sight of this, his spirit I couldn't help but dim. Boom. Right then, the ice shield appeared again. Ning Tian raised his hand and activated the law of ice to block the attack. Master, Ling was stunned. Don't be discouraged. You've just started cultivating. It's good enough that you have such strength. Ning Tian glanced at her and said indifferently. Then, he threw a punch and shattered the ice shield above his head. Take this chance and run. After that, Ning Tian pulled Ling and dashed out of the inn. Damn it. Little Ning, you can't betray your teammates. I didn't betray you. Seeing this, Qin Luo hurriedly followed after them while cursing. Damn you. Ning Tian cursed. If you didn't turn around and run back, this wouldn't have happened. Boom. Boom boom. The moment the three of them ran out of the inn, 3 terrifying waves came crashing down from the sky, smashing the inn into pieces and engulfing it in the endless sea. You stole my Heavenly Fish Clan's heaven and earth cauldron and you still want to escape? What a joke. Princess Heavenly Fish looked at the 3 figures in the sky coldly. When she saw them clearly, she stared at them. I didn't expect. You're with them. Although Ning Tian didn't have the green fish head on his head, Princess Heavenly Fish naturally remembered his figure and aura. When she saw that her Langjun, who she wanted to spend the night with, was with the guy who stole the heaven and earth cauldron, a cold murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Cough. If I say that I'm not close to him, would you believe me? Ning Tian coughed dryly and revealed a smile. Boom. However, Princess Tian, you did not pay any attention to Ning Tian. Instead, she slammed her palm heavily towards him. Her spiritual energy turned into a torrential stream of water and rushed towards Ning Tian. Tsk. Princess Heavenly Fish, at the very least, we have been intimate. Although it was your wishful thinking to play with the chair, you can't be so heartless. Ning Tian said to Princess Tian Yu as he used the law of frost to freeze the rapid flow of water. Shut up. You're courting death. Princess Tian Yu's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Her attacks became even more intense. Could it be that the chair is uncomfortable? Ning Tian's mouth was unforgiving. Princess Tian Yu's face instantly darkened when she heard this. You're courting death. Sky fish shadow killing shadow. She lifted her jade-like hand and pressed it down heavily towards Ning Tian and the others. In an instant, following her action, the spirit chi in the Heavenly Fish Imperial Palace surged. An enormous phantom of a heavenly fish appeared in the sky above the palace. Along with Princess Heavenly Fish's movement, the enormous image of the heavenly fish slammed its palm down as well. This palm, not only Ning Tian and the others, but also the countless people from the Sky Fish clan below. This woman is so cruel. She won't even let her own clansmen off. Qin Luo pursed his lips and looked at the palm above his head. Ning Tian, What did you do to the fish-headed princess with the chair? Looking at her, it seems like she wants to kill you very much. Cough. It's a small matter. Don't lead Ling astray. Ning Tian coughed dryly. Also, hurry up and deal with the palm above your head. If it wasn't for you, this wouldn't have happened. Ning Tian glared at Qin Luo. This guy was about to run out of the Sky Fish Imperial City, but he still came back. He was so touched. It's just a palm from the shadow. Qin Luo waved his hand and casually slammed his palm forward. Boom. In an instant, a terrifying fist intent exuded from Qin Luo's body. Boom, a fist against a palm. Almost in the blink of an eye, the two terrifying spirit chis collided heavily and instantly exploded into a huge shockwave. The surrounding houses followed closely and countless people from the Sky Fish clan were directly sent flying. At the same time, Ning Tian used his ice to form a shield in front of him, and Ling boom. Uncle Qin, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Ning Tian looked at Qin Luo. He didn't expect this guy to be so strong. Peak heavenly god strength? Not far away, Princess Tianyu frowned and a trace of seriousness flashed across her eyes. That's right. You brat, do you think I'm weak? I'm F***CK. However, before Qin Luo could finish his sentence, a huge force suddenly erupted from the Sky Fish Imperial City and attacked Qin Luo. It turned into a huge palm and slammed into his body. Qin Luo was once again sent flying and crashed heavily into the ground. F***CK. Uncle Qin, you're not dead, right? Seeing this, Ning Tian hurriedly brought Ling down and helped Qin Luo up. Cough cough, I won't die. Damn it, I didn't even finish my act and I was sent flying again. Qin Luo climbed up from the ground and cursed. He looked at the Sky Fish Imperial City with a serious expression. Damn it. We have to run. More and more old guys from the Sky Fish Imperial City are awakening. There's even an ancient god. I know we have to run. But how do we run? Ning Tian frowned. He still had the space law that he could use. However, the moment Qin Luo was discovered stealing the Heaven and Earth Cauldron, the entire Imperial City was enveloped by an invisible force. With his current strength, it was difficult for him to use the space law. Unless, he had to punch a hole in the invisible force. Uncle Qin, can you punch a hole in the invisible force? Ning Tian frowned and looked at Qin Luo beside him and asked softly. Yes, but they might not give me time. I need some time to destroy it. Qin Luo's tone was serious. It's good that you can. I can buy some time for you. It just so happens that I have a big gift for them. A smile appeared on Ning Tian's face. You can? Qin Luo obviously did not believe him. Bring Ling and find a chance to destroy it. Then, just watch my performance. Ning Tian chuckled. Then, under their gazes, he leaped into the sky. Looking at Princess Tianyu and the group of Heavenly Fish clan experts behind her, Ning Tian's eyes narrowed slightly. Other than Princess Tianyu, who was a 3-star heavenly god, the rest were mostly ancestral gods. The true experts of the Sky Fish Imperial City had yet to awaken. They still needed some time. This period of time was the best time to do so. He could buy some time. Princess, didn't you want to talk to me? Let me teach you the correct way to make the steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers. Ning Tian looked at Princess Tianyu and smiled. The heavenly fire in his hand went berserk. Chapter 606. Humph. Langjun, I, ancient god heavenly fish, have awakened. Let's see what you can do. Bam! Princess Heavenly Fish was elated when she sensed the aura of Heavenly Fish Imperial City awakening. She looked coldly at Ning Tian. Unfortunately, before she could finish her sentence, Ning Tian suddenly appeared in front of her and punched her on the head. Phew, that felt good. I told you not to call me Langjun. Ning Tian swung his fist. He had wanted to punch Princess Heavenly Fish for a long time. You must have a death wish. Princess Heavenly Fish crawled out from the ruins of a building and glared fiercely at Ning Tian. Qin Luo, are you done yet? However, Ning Tian ignored Princess Heavenly Fish. As he sensed the ancient god aura in the imperial city getting thicker, Ning Tian cursed and looked at Qin Luo. Give me 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds. Qin Luo shouted. 10 seconds? All right. Hurry up. A huge fish is about to awaken. Ning Tian hurriedly said. 10, 9, 8. You killed my race's elites and still want to escape? You're just a mere human. What right do you have to be so arrogant? At that moment, a low voice filled with killing intent rang out. A powerful aura came from Heavenly Fish Imperial City and turned into a huge fishtail that swung towards Qin Luo and Ling. F***CK. Qin Luo exclaimed. Don't worry about it. I'll block it for you. Just as he was about to block it, Ning Tian shouted. Then, thousands of ethereal doppelgangers appeared in front of Qin Luo and Ling. I don't believe it. My thousands of ethereal doppelgangers can't block a single attack from your ancient god fish. Ning Tian gritted his teeth and an ethereal aura flowed out. Bam! The fish tail swung towards them. Bam! It collided with the thousands of ethereal doppelgangers. Reality proved that the 1,000 illusory doppelgangers were unable to block the attack. They only managed to delay Qin Luo for a few seconds before they shattered into pieces, turning into an illusory gas that dissipated into the world. At this moment, despair flashed across Princess Tian Yu's eyes. Because there was a smack. Her 1,000-fold happiness was gone. Brat Ning, even if there were thousands of you, it would still be useless. Qin Luo cursed. Cut the crap, hurry up. Ning Tian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth due to the destruction of his ethereal doppelganger. In a flash, he appeared beside Qin Luo and Ling. Yes, Qin Luo did not waste his breath. Clenching his fist, his spiritual energy surged wildly. The aura of a peak heavenly god gathered on his fist, and he punched the void. Boom! One punch. Crack, crack, crack. Around them, the sound of something shattering could be heard. It's finally broken. Sensing the release of space, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. Then, he grabbed the two's hands and operated the law of space. The surrounding void began to fluctuate. What's going on? Space is changing? Qin Luo frowned. Don't resist, I'll get you out of here, Ning Tian said to the two with a solemn expression. Ling, hold on to me. Yes. Ling nodded. She grabbed Ning Tian's hand with one hand and the corner of Ning Tian's shirt with the other. Lao Zu, they're trying to escape. Stop them. Seeing this scene, Princess Tian Yu's expression changed. She hurriedly shouted at the huge fish figure in the imperial city. Humph! In the imperial city, a heavy snort could be heard. Then, it set off a wave that charged toward Ning Tian and the other two. It seemed like it wanted to kill Ning Tian and the other two in one move. I've been too tired recently. Even sitting in front of the computer is tiring. I'm not updating well. I'm really sorry, but I'm really too tired. Please ask me to update less and take a break. Sorry. Chapter 607. Boom. Under the pressure of the ancient god, all the experts of the Heavenly Fish clan in the Heavenly Fish Imperial City trembled and were pressed to the ground. Ning Tian and the other two also fully felt the terror of the ancient god fish. This fish must be very delicious. In the silence, Ning Tian stroked his chin and said slowly. Everyone, ? Qin Luo and Ling? Damn. Little Ning, we're about to die and you're still thinking about eating. I don't want to die. I haven't even hugged the rich woman yet. Qin Luo scolded when he heard Ning Tian's words. Don't you have a trick to run away? Hurry up and run. The rich woman in the deity realm needs me. Qin Luo scolded. I can run away, but I have to take this attack. Ning Tian looked at the attack of the ancient god fish in the sky and his eyes turned solemn. If he used the law of space now, The ancient god's attack would disturb the void, and the consequences would be unimaginable. Take this attack? Are you crazy? This is an ancient god's attack. Qin Luo's expression changed when he heard Ning Tian's words. Of course I know that this is an attack from an ancient god. It's a pity that this attack is too powerful. Otherwise, I would be able to receive it with my face, Ning Tian muttered. The spatial energy in her hand began to stir. If he was stronger, he could even control space and redirect the ancient god's attack. However, his current strength was still lacking. Damn it! Little Ning, as long as you take this attack, you have the ability to take us away, right? At the side, Qin Luo looked over and asked. Ning Tian nodded slightly and looked sideways at Qin Luo. He raised his eyebrows and asked, You have a way? Don't underestimate me, Qin Luo sneered. Then, a black aura slowly emerged from his body, and his aura seemed to have increased at this moment. In any case, I am at the peak of the divine realm. If I use a few tricks, I don't believe that I can't defeat this 2-star supreme ancient god in one move. Qin Luo cursed and then flipped his big hand. Boom! A pitch-black ancient cauldron appeared in front of him. My race's super-divine artifact. Heaven and Earth Cauldron! Princess Tian Yu exclaimed when she saw this. Your ass! Qin Luo sneered and pressed down heavily. Boom! Boom! When the huge wave slammed into the Heaven and Earth Cauldron, the entire Heavenly Fish Imperial City could hear the loud explosion. All the experts from the Heavenly Fish clan had a change in expression, and deep fear flashed in their eyes. Dong! Thump! Thump! The sound waves echoed in the surroundings. Entertainment Dao? Before I leave, I'll give you a big gift. Entertainment Dao spread. A glint flashed across Ning Tian's eyes. Then, a guzheng appeared in her hand, and the Dao of music filled the air. Instantly, the sound waves spread out, and the surrounding Heavenly Fish clan cultivators spat out blood. However, before they could react, the surrounding houses that had collapsed because of the Tao of music fell on them. What evil intentions could the patriarch have? He only gave them a demolition plan before he left. Little Ning, can you run now? Qin Luo's rough voice sounded from the side. I can't hold on for long like this. Yes, you can. Looking at the wisps of black aura emerging from Qin Luo's body, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. However, he did not ask for details and only nodded. After hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo kept the Heaven and Earth Cauldron and returned to Ning Tian and Ling's side. Space activate. Ning Tian held the void and released the power of space distortion. In an instant, the void around the three of them began to change. Princess Heavenly Fish, we'll take our leave first. If you want to see me first, you can illusion the chair as me. Don't worry, I won't feel too disgusted if the chair is an illusion. Blurg. Ning Tian's hearty laughter rang from the sky. The void in the sky flashed. Ning Tian and the other two seemed to be dissipating. Damn it! Patriarch, stop them! Seeing that Ning Tian and the other two were about to escape into the void, Princess Heavenly Fish panicked. She could not even feel the simplest happiness now, let alone 1,000 times more. Moreover, the Heaven and Earth Cauldron was still in their hands. In the Heavenly Fish Imperial City, the ancient divine fish had just awakened and could not attack continuously. Seeing that Ning Tian and the other two were about to escape into the void, the ancient divine fish snorted coldly. A torrent of water rushed toward the closed void in the sky. Boom! There was a loud boom. A muffled groan came from the sky. Damn it! This ancient divine fish will make you into a stew sooner or later. In the sky. As his voice fell, the three figures had already disappeared. Damn it! They managed to escape. Princess Heavenly Fish stomped her feet in anger. Looking at the messy Heavenly Fish Imperial City, her dead fish eyes seemed to be burning with flames. She took a deep breath and tried to calm herself down. Patriarch, what should we do now? Princess Heavenly Fish looked in the direction of the Heavenly Fish Imperial City. In the Imperial City, after a long silence, a voice was heard. Chase after them. Those people need to use the heaven and earth cauldron. The dark turmoil has yet to truly descend. The ancient divine fish said slowly. Those people, ancient divine cloud atlas. Heaven and earth collection? Princess Heavenly Fish frowned and muttered to herself. Lang Jun, I will find you eventually. However, Princess Heavenly Fish did not expect that she would never find him. The deity region. In an unknown place. Thunderous roars exploded in the sky. Following that, a terrifying whirlpool appeared, and 3 figures fell heavily from the sky after letting out blood-curdling screams. Damn! Little Ning, you are not familiar with the space law. I am going to faint. You are too heartless. Can you blame me? I don't care, damn you. There was a scream. Then, there was a loud boom. A huge pit appeared on the ground. In a cloud of dust, Qin Luo climbed up while cursing, my old waist. I almost broke it. What is this? It fell out of the space and did not allow me to use my spirit energy. Little Ning, you are not dead. Damn. Qin Luo touched his old waist and looked to the side. He realized that Ning Tian did not fall to the ground at all. Instead, he was protected by an ice ball. Ling, why didn't you make me an ice ball too? Qin Luo complained. Oh, you are not my master. Ling said lightly. Little girl, how can you think like that at such a young age? Qin Luo's face darkened. Crack. The ice ball broke. Ning Tian stretched. Sigh, it feels good to have a good disciple. Qin Luo was speechless. Ning Tian spread his hands and asked, So, where is this? Qin Luo was stunned. You don't know where this is? I don't know. Ning Tian looked innocent. Chapter 608. You don't know? Qin Luo was dumbfounded. I don't know. Ning Tian spread his hands. It's over, it's over. Ling, your master's beast nature is going to abduct and sell us. Qin Luo sighed deeply and rolled his eyes at Ning Tian. Your service is not good. You don't even have a location. There is a precise location service, but you have to pay more. Ning Tian said with a smile. Qin Luo was silent for a moment and coughed dryly. Ahem. Little Ning, we are so close. Why are you still charging? Close? Are we close? Ning Tian continued to look at Qin Luo with a smile. Qin Luo's smile froze at that moment. Then, he cursed in a familiar voice, Little Ning, you are so heartless. After all, we've escaped together before. Weren't you the one who forced us to escape? Ning Tian rolled his eyes at him. Ahem. I told you, this is called not selling out teammates. I don't believe you. Heartless. The two of them started to argue with each other. Ling played with the ice blade silently and looked at the two of them. Phew. After a merciless exchange of insults, Ning Tian touched his chest and felt a slight pain. He muttered, Fortunately, I entered this void in advance. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to take that palm strike. Damn it. This ancient divine fish, I will stew it sooner or later. Little Ning? Forget it. Qin Luo teased from the side. However, no one noticed that Ling's eyes lit up when she heard Ning Tian's unintentional words. 10 minutes later, Qin Luo finally understood where he was. Damn it. Little Ning, you are good. You actually brought me back to my hometown. He exclaimed and patted Ning Tian's shoulder with a smile. He couldn't help but shake his head. How did you know that this is my hometown? You shocked Qin Luo. Reward. The temptation to go home. As the system's voice rang in his mind, Ning Tian slowly typed out a question mark. Who can tell me? What the hell is the temptation of going home? Temptation of returning home. Space law skill. Together with the host's space law, temptation of returning home can be used to make the opponent's attack return to the original path. In his mind, the system's explanation sounded. Hearing this, Ning Tian was silent for a while before he asked with a dark expression, "System, I understand the logic, but why do you have to use such a flashy name? This system is tailored according to the host. Therefore, if the name of the skill is coquettish, it means that the host is also." Before the system could finish speaking, it was interrupted by Ning Tian. "Don't say any more." Ning Tian sighed. He was clearly so serious, so why was his system so indecent? "Uncle Qin, what did you just say? This is your hometown?" Ning Tian asked with a frown as he recalled Qin Luo's words. "Yes." Qin Luo nodded. "Here, it's the Big Dipper Star region, the Middle State region." Qin Luo's eyes were shining. "The Big Dipper Star region. I actually returned here?" Hearing this, Ning Tian could not help but be taken aback. The Big Dipper Star region. At the side, Ling was a little confused. She was originally from the Southern Frost Star Sea, and this was her first time coming to the Big Dipper Star region. Looking at the confused Ling, Ning Tian smiled and patted her shoulder. "Ling, if you want to return to the Southern Frost Star Sea in the future, you can do so. After all, there are still things you want to do there." "Yes." Ling held the ice blade and nodded heavily. At this time, Qin Luo looked over and asked the two of them, "Hey, Ning boy, Ling girl, do you want to follow me back to my hometown?" "Follow you back to your hometown?" Ning Tian frowned and pondered for a while. Now that the time scissors had collected 40% of the time energy, it meant that he had completed 2 tasks. This meant that there were 3 more tasks waiting for him to complete. Rather than running around on his own, it was better to follow Qin Luo. After all, the first 2 incidents were almost all related to him. 3 tasks, fine. I'll go with you. Ning Tian raised his head and looked at Qin Luo. Seeing that Ning Tian was still hesitating, Qin Luo's temper flared up. "You stinking brat, why are you still unwilling? I won't kidnap you. At most, I'll give you to a rich woman. It's no big deal. Rich woman, you. How much do you like rich women?" Hearing Qin Luo's words, Ning Tian's mouth twitched. "What do you know? You're young and don't know the fragrance of a rich woman. You've wrongly transplanted your youth backward." Qin Luo rolled his eyes at him. "Is that so?" Ning Tian shrugged. He did not know what a rich woman was. He only knew that his 2 wives were very rich. "Let's go, Ling. Let Uncle Qin lead the way." "Yes, master." Ling nodded. "Hey, stinking brat, wait for me. I fell so badly just now." "Oh, and then? Do you know how to respect the old and cherish the young? You're not my elder." "Stinking brat, you're so king heartless." While cursing, Qin Luo led the 2 of them to a certain place in the region of Central Plains. Several hours later. "Uncle Qin, this is your hometown?" The corner of Ning Tian's mouth twitched as she looked at the shabby little village in front of her. Qin Luo kept saying that he wanted to marry a rich woman, so he couldn't be doing too badly himself, right? But seeing the shabby village in front of him, his thoughts were shattered. "Yes?" Qin Luo smiled and touched his nose. "A poor man's ambition is not poor. So, you want a rich woman, right?" Ning Tian asked with a dark face. "Ahem," Qin Luo blushed and coughed dryly. "A poor man's ambition is not poor," Ning Tian silently complained. He looked into the village, and seemed to have heard the commotion outside. More and more figures appeared in the village. "This is..." Ning Tian looked over and his pupils shrank. The village was full of old and weak people. They were basically old people and children. There was not even a young man in his prime. "Little Ning, don't underestimate these little guys. Wait for me to train them well and create the strongest force. We'll take off immediately. Now we only need a few 100 million spirit coins to invest. Do you want to invest?" Qin Luo quietly leaned over and asked with a chuckle. "I can invest 1 spirit coin." Ning Tian took out a spirit coin that shone with a golden light and said with a smile. Qin Luo's face turned bitter. He curled his lips and said, "Forget it. I'd rather find a rich woman to invest. After all, you're too heartless. Oh right, Uncle Chin. Your catchphrase, heartless? I rested for a day yesterday. Today is the third update. There are 2 more updates. Chapter 609. Yeah, what's wrong, Ning Brat? Hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo paused for a moment and then scratched his head. Nothing. I just wanted to ridicule you. If you have a child, you might as well name it Wuqing. Ning Tian chuckled and shook his head. But when he said that, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Strange. What felt wrong? Name it Wuqing? Hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo paused for a moment and muttered, Wuqing, Wuqing, Dao is Wuqing. Ning Brat, these 2 words sound pretty good. The more I say it, the smoother it sounds. Isn't that obvious? Your catchphrase is naturally smoother. Ning Tian rolled his eyes at him. Hee. If I have a woman or a child, I'll name her Wuqing. Qin Luo chuckled, his eyes filled with yearning. Wake up, stop dreaming. You don't have a wife. Ning Tian silently added fuel to the fire. Damn you! Qin Luo scolded loudly. As he scolded, he looked at Ling and reminded her, Ling, you have to be careful of your master. Your master is too mean. He took all the bamboo shoots on the mountain by himself. Be careful that he doesn't cheat you. Master won't trick me. Ling played with the ice blade and shook her head. Ah. Hearing this, Ning Tian laughed. He didn't accept this disciple for nothing. Qin Luo, at #yen%, after Qin Luo sent his greetings, he led Ning Tian and Ling to the small village. When the 3 of them entered the small village, Ning Tian clearly saw 2 words engraved on a shabby wooden sign in front of the village. Qin Village. Looks like this guy's surname is Qin. Seeing this, Ning Tian muttered. After the 3 of them entered the Qin village, the elders and children in the village surrounded them. Qin Luo, you're back. An old man with a walking stick walked over. He was limping and looked like he would fall at any time. However, through careful observation, Ning Tian still found a trace of something fishy. The old man seemed to be limping, but every step he took was powerful. 1 star Heavenly God Realm. After Ning Tian sensed the old man's strength, he was able to determine the old man's strength. This Qin village, it didn't seem ordinary. Yes, village chief, I'm back. Qin Luo smiled and nodded. I borrowed something. It went well. Borrow, success. Hearing this, Ning Tian immediately rolled his eyes. It was one thing to borrow, but what the hell was going on? If it weren't for him, Qin Luo would have been in a sorry state. However, Ning Tian only complained in his heart and did not expose him. After all, Qin Luo definitely wanted to save face. As long as everything goes smoothly. Village Chief Qin smiled and nodded. Then, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Ning Tian and Qin Luo. Qin Luo, who are these 2? They're smart people and also my friends. Qin Luo smiled. Smart people? Ning Tian frowned slightly. Haha, it means not an enemy. It's a secret code of our Qin village. Little Ning, don't worry too much about it. Qin Luo smiled and patted Ning Tian's shoulder, indicating that he did not need to think too much. Ning Tian nodded slightly. Then, he pulled Ling aside and bowed slightly to the elders of the Qin village. I'm Ning Tian. This is my beloved disciple, Ling. Nice to meet you, elders of the Qin village. Hearing that they were smart people, the other elders of the Qin village heaved a sigh of relief. They brought the group of children behind them and surrounded them. Uncle Qin, why is this Qin village full of old and weak people? Where are the young and strong? Looking at the group of children hiding behind the elders, Ning Tian could not help but frown slightly and ask with a trace of doubt. Hearing this, the surrounding elders suddenly became nervous. Well, haha, it's because of some special reasons. As for the reason, forgive me for not being able to tell you in detail. You really have 100,000 whys. Qin Luo held his forehead and said helplessly. Ning Tian spread out his hands. If he did not ask after seeing this, he would feel uneasy. Alright, since you've borrowed the heaven and earth cauldron, you can use this cauldron to perform the seal. This way there's hope for our Qin clan. Qin Luo murmured. His eyes fell on the group of children of the Qin village. His eyes were filled with excitement. Little Ning, weren't you curious about the use of this heaven and earth cauldron? Follow me and you'll know, Qin Luo said and walked towards the deepest part of the Qin village. At the same time, the group of children hiding in the Qin village quickly followed Qin Luo's footstep. The use of the heaven and earth cauldron? Hearing this, Ning Tian raised his eyebrows slightly. Ling, let's follow. Yes, master. The group of people came to the deepest part of the Qin village. This place was like a huge square. There were 8 blue stones around it. Each blue stone was engraved with ancient patterns. Sealing array. Ning Tian's eyes fell on the patterns on the blue stone and murmured, Little Ning, I didn't expect you to have a good eye. You actually know that this is a sealing array. Ordinary people can't see that this is a sealing array. Hearing this, Qin Luo clicked his tongue and sighed. Of course I'm not an ordinary person. Haha, good boy. I knew it. My eyes can't be wrong. Qin Luo laughed loudly. Excuse me. At this time, Ling raised her hand silently and pointed at the wooden sign. Isn't it written with the words Qin Clan Sealed Land? Ning Tian. Qin Luo. Haha. Little Ning, you also have your disciples. After a moment of silence, Qin Luo began to laugh wildly. Master, don't think too much. I just want to correct Uncle Qin's eyes. Master is the best. However, before Qin Luo finished laughing, Ling interrupted him. Keep laughing. Keep laughing. Qin Luo's face darkened. He coughed dryly and changed the topic. He looked at the group of Qin village children beside him and said, Ahem, you little guys find your positions. We're going to start. Yes, Uncle Qin. The group of Qin village children nodded and walked toward the square. Ning Tian looked over. The group of children indeed had their own positions. Every position was different. At this time, Qin Luo took out the pitch-black cauldron. It was the super-divine artifact Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Uncle Qin, are you going to seal them? Ning Tian frowned slightly. No, not seal them. I'm sealing the curse. Qin Luo shook his head slightly. Curse? Yes, a curse. Qin Luo nodded and looked at the group of Qin village children. Little Ning, this group of children is a kind of curse. If the curse is not removed, they will never be able to cultivate spiritual energy. But this kind of curse can't be removed easily. Only by sealing the curse can our Qin clan have a future. One more update. Chapter 610. Hearing this, Ning Tian frowned but did not ask. After all, even if he asked, Qin Luo might not tell him. A curse, huh? Ning Tian murmured. He pulled Ling out of the square and watched silently. Once all the children of the Qin village entered the plaza, Qin Luo began to activate the enormous sealing array. The 8 blue stones in the surrounding plaza violently shook. Spirit energy began to madly surge, and all of the symbols lit up, boom, rumble. Around them, all the spiritual energy surged. Heaven and Earth Cauldron, Black Strange Seal, rise. Qin Luo roared and then slammed his palm onto the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Immediately, the sound of waves rumbling could be heard. Along with the rumbling, the power of the surrounding blue stones grew stronger and stronger. Countless amounts of spiritual qi turned into pitch-black light and gathered towards the children. Ugh, arg. Uncle Qin, it hurts. In the square, the children of Qin village cried out in pain. Hold on a little longer. Qin Luo gritted his teeth. Spiritual energy gathered and activated the Heaven and Earth Cauldron in front of him. After 10 minutes, the faces of the group of Qin village children were also a bit ugly, even a bit dark. Master, something is wrong with them. Ling held the ice blade in her hand and said to Ning Tian. Yeah, something is wrong. Ning Tian nodded. However, his gaze was mostly on Qin Luo. He could not help but murmur in his heart, why does this seal look so familiar? Ling, stay here and watch, Ning Tian said to Ling. Then, his consciousness entered the second level of the Buddha Demon Pagoda. At this moment, Qin Luo's forehead was covered in cold sweat. His eyes were solemn as he gritted his teeth. Damn it, why didn't it work? I've already used the heaven and earth cauldron. Logically speaking, the black strange seal should have worked. Damn it. Could it be my Qin family, arg? At this moment, a scream was heard. In the square, a child knelt on the ground in pain. Qin Luo, stop. This move is useless. Not far away, several elders from Qin village already walked over. I understand, village chief. Qin Luo's eyes were filled with unwillingness, but at this moment, he could only give up. Don't give up. This move is useful, but your black strange seal is incomplete. Just as Qin Luo was about to give up, Ning Tian's hearty voice sounded from the side. He slowly walked towards Qin Luo with a smile on his face. Just moments ago, he'd entered the second level of the Buddha's Devil Pagoda. Don't forget that the second level of the Buddha's Devil Pagoda was the Incantation Pagoda. The pagoda was inscribed with various incantation techniques, and the black strange seal that Qin Luo executed was obviously amongst them. And not all of them? Qin Luo was taken aback. A glimmer of hope ignited in his eyes, which had been filled with unwillingness. Yes, not all. How can an incomplete black strange seal succeed? Ning Tian nodded and looked at Qin Luo seriously. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly as he smiled and said, Uncle Qin, if you trust me, why don't you let me try? Hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo couldn't help but be silent for a moment. He was a little hesitant. He frowned slightly as he looked at the surrounding elders of the Qin village and cast a questioning gaze. Qin Luo, you make the decision on this matter. Village Chief Qin shook his head slightly. His words represented the intentions of the other elders. Yes, I understand. Qin Luo nodded and then took a deep breath. He looked at Ning Tian with a dignified gaze and said, Little Ning, you must not disappoint me. Don't worry. Ning Tian chuckled. Then, the moment Qin Luo stepped back, he took over Qin Luo's position. Black strange seal. Ning Tian let out a low shout. The seals in his hands flickered as he began to form seals. With the complete black strange seal, the surrounding 8 blue stones were still flickering with luster as the spiritual energy continued to surge. No, why is little Ning using the heaven and earth cauldron? This heaven and earth cauldron is, at this moment. Qin Luo seemed to have thought of something as his expression changed slightly. If he couldn't activate the heaven and earth cauldron, so what if he had the complete black strange seal? The heaven and earth cauldron was the key. Boom. Dong dong, however. The next moment the surprise always came in time. Damn. This kid can actually activate the heaven and earth cauldron. No, the only ones who can really activate the heaven and earth cauldron are my Qin family and that kind of physique. This kid really hit it well. Qin Luo's eyes were shining. At this moment, the heaven and earth cauldron condensed power. The surrounding spiritual energy continued to surge. This complete black strange seal required too much spiritual energy. Moreover, activating the heaven and earth cauldron also consumed a lot of spiritual energy. My spiritual sea is not enough. It seems that I can only temporarily inconvenience the people of the Zhongzhou region and borrow the 100 million spiritual energy of the Zhongzhou region. Ning Tian's eyes flashed as he murmured. Last time, he had the idea of using the Zhongzhou region in the precept domain, but he didn't implement it. This time, he might as well implement it. The Zhongzhou region 1,000,000 years ago was in danger. Use key of spiritual energy. Absorb the 100 million spiritual energy of the Zhongzhou region. Ning Tian let out a low shout in his heart. Boom! In an instant, his 11 spiritual seas turned into a huge key, as if opening the spiritual energy valve of the Zhongzhou region. In an instant, a huge suction force erupted from Ning Tian's body. At the same time, the surrounding spiritual energy surged in an instant. Boom! Rumble! For a moment, a huge vortex appeared above Ning Tian's head. Huh! What is Ning Tian doing? Qin Luo frowned and looked solemn. The surrounding elders of the Qin village were also somewhat cautious, but they only saw a vortex above their head. They didn't know that at this moment, countless large and small vortexes had appeared above the Zhongzhou region. The spiritual energy was sucked away at this moment. Countless cultivators were dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. Qin village. A few hours later. Black strange seal. Condense. After a long time, Ning Tian clenched his teeth and slammed his palm heavily on the heaven and earth cauldron. A pitch-black palm appeared with a roar. At the same time, the faces of the group of Qin village children in the square gradually returned to normal, and at their necks a pitch-black light was emitted. Finally, it's over. Ning Tian let out a long sigh of relief. The host has completed the third event, Black Strange Seal. The current time energy is 60%. At this moment, in his mind, the system's voice rang. The third event, Ning Tian murmured and looked at the group of children. The black light on their necks was slowly dissipating. Suddenly, Ning Tian's pupils shrank and he sucked in a breath of cold air. This is? He saw. The pitch-black light on their necks dissipated and a familiar pitch-black rune emerged. This, wasn't it exactly the same as those frozen people he saw in the 10,000 Spirits Devil Cave? Hiss! At this moment, Ning Tian finally understood something. Chapter 611. The 10,000 Spirits Nest, the Tianma cult in the Divine Realm. The people sealed in ice, and the black runes on their necks. He had asked Yi Shuang and the others in the heavenly palace what the runes on the necks of the people sealed in ice were. However, even Yi Shuang and the others did not know the origin of the black runes. However, now he understood something. He even had a very bold guess in his heart. The black runes on the necks of the people sealed in ice in the 10,000 spirits nest actually came from him. Everything lit all came from him. Hiss! Thinking of this, Ning Tian could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. She looked at the group of Qin village children in the 8 limestone squares and began to count them one by one. She counted the number of children in the group. If he remembered correctly, there were tens of thousands of people sealed in ice. And the Qin village children here? There were only a few hundred people. In terms of numbers, it did not match at all. Phew! Seeing that the numbers did not match, Ning Tian heaved a sigh of relief. His originally furrowed brows slightly relaxed. Perhaps the 10,000 spirits nest had nothing to do with him? No, that's not right. Just as he heaved a sigh of relief, he suddenly thought of something. A drop of cold sweat flowed down his forehead. He forgot an important thing. The most important detail, that was, according to what Qin Luo said earlier. At this moment, there were only children and old people in the Qin village. The young and strong people were not present. If the young and strong people in the Qin village were to be counted, then, in terms of numbers, it was very likely to match. Hiss! It turned out the source of all this came from him. What the hell is going on? Ning Tian felt a headache coming. His brain was like a ball of paste. He was still thinking hard about who set up the black runes in the ice, what they did, and what their purpose was. However, at this moment, he was shocked to find that it was all because of him. Then the future ice was also set up by me? Ning Tian frowned again. However, sealing the people of Qin village in ice without harming their lives and keeping them in a state of stillness required a high level of control over the law of ice. With his current state, it was absolutely impossible, and the time left for him was far from enough. Now, the time scissors had already completed 60% of its energy. Only two things were left for him. Once the time scissors finished collecting energy, his existence would no longer be able to remain here. He would be forcibly sent back to his timeline. Clearly, the ice seal was not his doing. Instead, it was someone else. He must be an expert with a strong grasp of ice. That was not right. Ning Tian's expression suddenly became strange. Speaking of ice, there seemed to be one beside him. Furthermore, it was a freaking ice god physique. Holy shit! It can't be. Could it be a spirit? The corners of Ning Tian's mouth twitched as he looked at Ling, who was quietly playing with her ice blade with an indifferent expression. In the timeline that belonged to him, there were two people who had reached the pinnacle of mastery over the law of ice. One was his eldest senior sister, Yi Shuang. The other was the extremely mysterious ice goddess. At first, he suspected that Yi Shuang was the one who sealed the 10,000 spirits nest. But now he changed his mind. The one who sealed the 10,000 spirits nest was the ice goddess. As for the spirit before him, it was very likely that she was the future ice goddess. In other words, if I didn't save Ling back then, there wouldn't be a future ice goddess, and the scene of the 10,000 spirits nest being sealed in ice wouldn't have happened. Ning Tian suddenly came to a realization. It was no wonder that by saving Ling, he had completed the first task. Every single task had a crucial connection to his timeline. What he did was not to change the future. Instead, he made the future walk on the correct path. Oh my God! Then, if I return, wouldn't I have an extremely powerful disciple? Ning Tian's expression became somewhat strange. If that was the case, when he returned, Ling would be even more powerful than him, her master? Phew, then, why did Ling seal the 10,000 spirits nest in ice? Ning Tian heaved a long sigh of relief. He couldn't help but be curious. But it was very obvious. He wouldn't get any answers now. Interesting, Ning Tian's lips curled up slightly. The question he was curious about was closely related to him. And he had to return to the future to find the answer. This was a question that spanned millions of years. Whether it was the black strange seal, the ice seal, or the ice goddess, they were closely related to him. Ha ha! Little Ning, I didn't expect you to succeed. This is the most complete black strange seal. Right at this moment, Qin Luo's coarse laughter came from the side. He walked over and looked at the children of the Qin village excitedly. His gaze landed on the black seal on their neck. I seem to feel the existence of spirit energy. My Qin family has hope. Qin family, Ning Tian narrowed his eyes. A glint flashed across his eyes. He noticed. Qin Luo wasn't talking about the Qin village, but the Qin family. Little Ning. Oh no, brother Ning, thank you so much this time. Qin Luo took a deep breath, looked at Ning Tian very seriously, and said slowly. No. Uncle Qin, you don't have to call me brother. Our seniority is too different. You should call me Little Ning, cough. Hearing Qin Luo's words, Ning Tian coughed dryly. He felt a little uncomfortable all over. Everything that happened now had already hinted at a lot. The current Qin village was the future Tianma cult of the god's domain. And Qin Luo, his relationship with the Qin village, or the future Tianma cult, was needless to say. This Qin Luo was definitely his cheap father-in-law. Ruthless. It was his wife, Luo Wuqing. Damn. I actually gave my wife a name by accident, and more importantly, he actually beat up his future father-in-law several times. He even kicked him. Damn. What a sin, what a sin. He was simply a role model. Oh, you brat, you actually said that? Hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo was stunned for a moment. Then, he laughed and slapped at the same time. That stinky brat, I'll take advantage of you, ha ha. Ha ha, you take advantage. As long as you're happy. Ning Tian also laughed. Anyway, I've already taken advantage of you the most. It doesn't matter. I want to be your son-in-law, but you want to be my brother? Don't even think about it. Phew, I've finally succeeded. Behind him, several elders of the Qin village walked over. Village Chief Qin leaned on his walking stick. His eyes were excited and his brain was trembling. Yes, I've finally succeeded. In this way, the first function of the heaven and earth cauldron has been achieved. Qin Luo nodded heavily. The first function? Ning Tian frowned and looked over. 2 more updates. Chapter 6:12. Well, using the heaven and earth cauldron to cast the black strange seal is the first function I want. Next, there will be a second function. Qin Luo's eyes fell on the heaven and earth cauldron that was operating and nodded. What is the second function? Ning Tian narrowed his eyes slightly. You will know soon. Now is not the time. Qin Luo chuckled and then put away the heaven and earth cauldron. That pair of sneaky eyes fell on Ning Tian again. Ning brat, why don't you teach me the complete version of this black strange seal? Qin Luo smiled. You want to learn? Sure, pay up. Ning Tian looked at Qin Luo with a smile and spread out his hands. It was really exciting to earn a sum of money from his father-in-law. You are a heartless brat. Hearing that he wanted money, Qin Luo instantly broke his defense. How do you know that I am a heartless brat? Ning Tian's mouth raised a trace of a smile. These words. It seemed to be exactly the same as what Qin Luo said, but there was another hidden meaning. Unfortunately, Qin Luo could not understand it at all. You admitted it? Qin Luo raised his eyebrows. Haha, maybe. You should pay the money first. Ning Tian spread out his hands. After hearing this, Qin Luo cursed again. Then, he placed a bag of spirit coins in Ning Tian's hand and said in a bad mood, Brat, I've already given you the money. Hurry up and give me the mysterious black array. Well, Ning Tian grabbed a mass of air and threw it to Qin Luo. Okay, here you go. Qin Luo slowly typed a question mark and looked at Ning Tian with a dumbfounded face. Are you playing with me? What do you think? Just now when I used the black strange seal, you have been watching. You want to trick me into other seals? Dream on. Ning Tian rolled his eyes at Qin Luo. You want to get my seals? No way. Cough. Then wouldn't I have wasted my money? Qin Luo coughed and his old face darkened. More or less. Ning Tian spread out his hands. Qin Luo. Forget it. It seems that the black strange seal that you just used is complete. Qin Luo spread out his hands. When Ning Tian used the Hei Qi seal technique just now, he had already learned it secretly. In this way, my Qin family can be saved. Qin Luo waved his hand and the array on the square dissipated. The light on the 8 pieces of stones also slowly dissipated at this time. The group Qin villages on Luo's on the square. Ding! At this moment, the system's voice rang out in Ning Tian's mind. Mission issued. Qin village. Qin, teach them, don't tell me. Ning Tian's eyes flashed and he seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Qin Luo and the corner of his mouth lifted slightly. Uncle Qin, these little guys, why don't you let me teach them? Qin? Hearing this, Qin Luo was stunned. What? You want to take in disciples? There's no need to take in disciples. I just want to teach them. Ning Tian waved her hand and looked at Ling with a smile. If it's a disciple, I only need Ling. Hearing this, Ling, who was playing with the ice blade on the side, was stunned for a moment and the corner of her mouth lifted slightly. Okay. Then I'll leave it to you. Qin Luo thought for a while. Thinking of Ning Tian's physique, he immediately agreed. This kid had endless means. If he were to teach them, the Qin family's children could learn a lot. Haha. Then come. Ning Tian stretched and looked at the group of Qin village's children. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. Don't worry, I will teach them very well. Ling, come with me. Master has some moves to teach you alone. Okay, master. Ling held the ice blade in her hand and walked over. Very soon, at the foot of a mountain in Qin village, a group of children surrounded Ning Tian and looked at him curiously. Brother Ning, what are you going to teach us? Yes, yes, the group of children chattered. Uncle Qin said that you will teach us very powerful move. Brother Ning, what are you going to teach us? A little girl walked over and tugged at Ning Tian's clothes, pouting as she asked. She looked cute in an instant. This guy wants to cheat me of my things again. Hearing this, Ning Tian could not help but shake his head helplessly. As for what to teach, he had already decided. The corners of his lips curled up into a faint smile as he looked at the group of children. What I'm going to teach you is very powerful. You must learn it well. The name of this technique is Heavenly Demon Technique. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. Many young figures in Qin village were sitting cross-legged, circulating familiar technique. Spirit energy also quietly flowed out at this time, gradually becoming stronger. In the middle of the crowd, a black-clothed young lady sat cross-legged. Her fine black hair fell to the ground like the stamen of a budding flower. 2 years had already passed, and her spirit had also grown, becoming even more beautiful. The only thing that had not changed was her indifferent gaze and the ice blade in her hand. After a long time, Ling seemed to have finished her cultivation. She slowly got up and first glanced at the group of young men and women in Qin village who were cultivating. Then she walked towards a place. In front of a blue stone, Ning Tian sat cross-legged. Ling had already walked over and looked at her master who was cultivating. She didn't say anything to disturb him, but silently watched from the side. Boom! Suddenly, a wave of spirit energy erupted from Ning Tian's body. Master is about to break through. Seeing this scene, Ling frowned and took half a step back. And at this moment, Ning Tian's aura was like a bamboo breaking through in one fell swoop. Congratulations to the host for breaking through. Current host strength. 3-star heavenly god. In his mind, the system's voice fell. Phew, Ning Tian exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and slowly opened his eyes. It had been 2 years. He had already stayed in Qin village for 2 years. He had finally broken through again. 2 years of 1 realm and 3 stars. This speed was still much slower. Master. Ling's voice sounded from the side. Yes. In these 2 years, Ling, you've changed a lot. Ning Tian slowly got up and looked at Ling hearing this. Ling's face couldn't help but redden. At her age, she had already reached the age of first awakening of love. Unfortunately, Ning Tian didn't notice at all. Let's go. It's time to see if those guys have completely comprehended the heavenly demon power. Ning Tian stretched lazily. It had been 2 years. In these 2 years, it was because some of the children in Qin village had poor comprehension that they hadn't learned the heavenly demon power. And if they didn't learn it, they wouldn't be able to complete the system's mission. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Reward. Time energy 10%. At this moment, in his mind, the system's voice suddenly sounded. It's finally completed. Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. Ling, let's go and take a look. After saying that, he took the lead and walked towards Qin village. Yes, master. Seeing that her master's attention wasn't on her, Ling sighed faintly. But she didn't think much about it. After holding the ice blade in her hand, she hurriedly followed. Which girl wouldn't yearn for love? Qin village. Not bad. You little fatty, you've finally learned the heavenly demon power. Ning Tian looked at the chubby fatty and couldn't help but smile helplessly. It was this little fatty who had stopped him for an entire year. The little fatty from Qin village, scratched his head embarrassedly. Kid, what's your name? Brother Ning, my name is Qin Fatty. Qin Fatty, right? Good kid, since you've learned the heavenly demon power, you must let it flourish in your hands. Don't waste your 2 years of effort, understand? Ning Tian patted Qin Fatty's head and said seriously, I definitely won't. Qin Fatty nodded his head heavily. Phew, it's finally completed. Looking at the spirit energy emerging from this group of little guys and feeling the familiar aura of the cultivation method on them, Ning Tian couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. What he had done, he had done. Kid Ning, looks like your teaching is very successful. At this moment, a coarse laugh resounded in the sky. Then, Qin Luo descended from the sky. What are you doing? Looking at Qin Luo's hurried appearance, Ning Tian couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Ha! Qin Luo looked at Ning Tian and couldn't help but tease him. I went out for a while. I heard that the heavenly fish princess is still looking for you. That's true love. Why don't you just give in? Ning Tian, the divine territory was so huge. Even for the Sky Fish dynasty, it would be extremely difficult to find them. You should go. No, I'm going to find a rich woman. I don't like the fish-headed princess. Qin Luo laughed loudly. A rich woman? Hearing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed, but he didn't say anything. He didn't even give a hint because it was too far away from his timeline. The timeline when Qin Luo found Luo Wuqing's mother wasn't clear. This kind of thing could only depend on fate. Although I didn't find a rich woman this time, I finally calculated the second time for the heaven and earth cauldron. It will come in handy soon. Qin Luo chuckled. Ning Tian narrowed his eyes slightly. At this moment, Qin Luo was looking at the group of Qin village children. Looking at their strong aura, he couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. Ning Tian, you did a good job. When they grow up, I'll start a force to protect my Qin family. Start a force? Why not? How about starting one now? Ning Tian's eyes flashed with golden light. At this moment, he already had a bold idea. Now, it's not impossible, but what's the name of the force? Qin Luo scratched his head. He had this idea before, but it was a pity that the Qin village children couldn't cultivate at that time. The rise of a force not only needed experts, but also new blood. But now the Qin village children had sealed the curse, and their talents had been nurtured by Ning Tian. It was a good suggestion. They cultivate the heavenly demonic power. Why not? At this moment, Ning Tian's heart was beating wildly. This idea was too terrifying. But maybe that was it. Why don't we call it the Tianma cult? The host has completed the fourth task. Teach the Qin family disciples and start the Tianma cult. Current time scissors energy, 80%. In his mind, the system's voice fell heavily. Hiss! At this moment, Ning Tian was stunned for a long time before she sucked in a deep breath of cold air. His idea, it was actually true. The Tianma cult was actually the origin of it. Tianma cult? Hearing this, Qin Luo was stunned for a moment. He touched his chin and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. After a while, he said, well, this name feels good. It suits my Qin family. I wonder what the elders think? He looked at the elders of Qin village. And the way they addressed them here was the elders. We have no problem. Village Chief Qin and the others shook their heads. Okay. Then it's decided. The Tianma cult is quite good. Qin Luo nodded. Then he thought of something and looked at Ning Tian. Young man, will you be the leader of the cult or should I? You will be. Ning Tian chuckled and his eyes flashed. You will be the leader. And I will be the founder of the Tianma cult. This chapter is 3,500 words. After today's update, it owes 500 words. Add it in tomorrow. Chapter 6:13. I am the Tianma cult's patriarch. Ning Tian's eyes shone brightly. The moment he spoke, he was filled with boundless confidence. When Ling, the Qin village elder, and the others saw this scene, they could not help but feel their hearts tremble. It was as if he was destined to be the patriarch. You're the patriarch? But it's reasonable. After all, these little fellows were taught by you, the founder. Hearing Ning Tian's words, Qin Luo was stunned for a moment. He frowned slightly but did not say anything. It's just that, Tianma cult. The heavenly demon, Qin Luo murmured as a complicated look flashed across his eyes. What's wrong? Is there a problem with the two words heavenly demon? Ning Tian looked over. A pair of clear black eyes fell on Qin Luo. No problem. Qin Luo shook his head. Hearing this, Ning Tian's lips curled up. Why was he named the heavenly demon? He had his own reasons, and he had just found the reason. It was only then that he remembered a crucial clue. In the demonic god Stonebook, it was recorded that Luo Wuqing's father was a survivor of the Dark Turmoil, and he himself was a member of the Heavenly Fiend clan. He once played an extremely important role in the Dark Turmoil, Chapter 574, and he used the three words Tianma cult to test Qin Luo's reaction to hearing the two words heavenly demon. And it was obvious. Qin Luo seemed indifferent, but Ning Tian noticed the subtle changes in his expression. This proved that Qin Luo was indeed Luo Wuqing's father, and the people of Qin village were probably the remnants of the Heavenly Demon clan. As for what exactly happened, and what the Heavenly Demon clan was, Ning Tian could not ask. At the very least, Ning Tian could not ask now. It seems, the answer will have to be found in the future, Ning Tian murmured in his heart. He already had a rough idea of what was going to happen. The Tianma cult was created by him, who had traveled to the past. This was the first generation of the Tianma cult in the Divine Dominion. He had gathered the energy of the Time Scissors and was destined to leave this timeline that did not belong to him. The next generation of the Tianma cult in the Divine Dominion would be managed by Qin Luo and Ling. And in a timeline unknown to him, something happened to the Tianma cult in God's domain. Only then did a spirit appear and seal the entire Tianma cult in ice within the 10,000 spirits' nest. Because of his disappearance, Qin Luo cherished the memory of this old friend of his. It wasn't until he went to the 9 regions that he met the first 9 regions Tianma cult leader and instructed him to establish the first 9 regions Tianma cult. Coincidentally, the 8th generation leader was Qin Luo's daughter, Luo Wuqing. It was also at that time that he had transmigrated to this world. As such, everything seemed to have been answered. However, what followed was even more confusion. Could it be everything was too coincidental? Ning Tian frowned slightly. Little Ning, what's wrong? Beside him, Qin Luo seemed to have noticed Ning Tian's strange behavior and couldn't help but look over. It's nothing. Ning Tian shook his head slightly and looked at Qin Luo. When will the second opportunity you mentioned begin? Soon. There are still a few days left. Qin Luo hesitated for a moment and said slowly. Okay. Got it. Call me when the time comes. Ning Tian nodded and then walked over to a group of Qin village. Oh no, it should be said that they were the reserve seedlings of the Tianma cult in the Divine Dominion. He had a premonition that the second opportunity Qin Luo mentioned was coming. It was the final event of the Time Scissors. After this event, it was time for him to bid farewell to this timeline. Let's go, little brats. I'll teach you a few more moves today. Ning Tian stretched lazily. Yes, big brother Ning. The group of children nodded heavily in anticipation. No, you have to change the way you address me now. Ning Tian smiled and looked at them with a smile. Now you have to call me Patriarch. Don't forget. Yes, Patriarch. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. During these days, Ning Tian also perfected the rules of the Tianma cult. It was almost unchanged and was basically exactly the same as the rules he understood before. Little Ning. It's almost time. On the 8-sided bluestone square of Qin village, everyone gathered together. Okay, got it. Ning Tian nodded slightly and tilted his head to look at Qin Luo, who had a serious expression. Where are we going? You'll know soon. Qin Luo revealed a mysterious smile, and then took out his space artifact. It seemed that he was going to leave now. Seeing this, Ning Tian didn't ask much. He couldn't take the initiative to interfere with anything unless it was related to the time scissors incident. Besides Qin Luo, Ning Tian, and Ling, there were also a few Qin village elders on this trip. The group boarded Qin Luo's space artifact. It's about time. It's just right to go now. Qin Luo sighed deeply. Okay. Ning Tian nodded slightly and turned to look at the group of Qin village children who were looking at him. A hint of bitterness flashed in his eyes. If nothing unexpected happened, although this meeting wasn't an eternal farewell, it would still be a matter of 1,000,000 years later. He hoped nothing would happen to these little guys. Uncle Qin, Patriarch, you have to work hard. Patriarch, we'll wait for you in Qin village. Come back early. I'm still waiting for Patriarch to teach me the heavenly demonic power. The group of Qin village children also waved at Ning Tian, unwilling to part with her. Haha. Then you have to cultivate the heavenly demonic power well. Wait for me to come back. Ning Tian chuckled. Perhaps this trip might leave this timeline, but 1,000,000 years later, he would definitely liberate them from the ice with his own hands. All right, Ning boy, we're ready to go. Qin Luo laughed loudly. Then, spiritual energy burst out from his body. He directly controlled the space artifact to rush into the void and fly toward the unknown destination at full speed. Boom! In the void, a huge space artifact cut through the void. On the space artifact, Qin Luo walked over and leaned on the railing. He tilted his head and looked at Ning Tian. Ning boy, didn't you want to know about the dark turmoil? Didn't you not want to say? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. Well, I didn't want to say before. But now I'm willing. What can you do? Qin Luo snorted coldly, full of arrogance. Ning Tian spread his hands and said helplessly, Then tell me. It's the dark turmoil. Qin Luo leaned on the railing and looked at the dark and endless void around him. He looked a little disappointed. After a deep sigh, he said, That's the true fear of the Tianxian continent. It's a heavenly tribulation and a natural disaster. It's a void of darkness. Wherever the turmoil goes, all life will be devoured. Natural disaster. Could it be the heavenly Tao? Ning Tian frowned and a hint of doubt flashed in his eyes. He looked at Qin Luo and was about to ask for clarification. Then, the moment he looked at Qin Luo, his pupils suddenly shrank. 2 more updates. There will be a small benefit in a few days. Those who haven't joined the group, hurry up and join the group. Otherwise, you won't see it. Chapter 6:14. Qin Luo, who was beside him, revealed an extremely terrified expression. His body was trembling non-stop. It could be seen that he was extremely afraid of the dark turmoil at this moment. To be able to make Qin Luo reveal such an expression, it seemed that the dark turmoil had a great impact on him. Ning Tian opened his mouth, but the words he wanted to ask were swallowed back in the end. Even if he asked Qin Luo now, he was afraid that he would not say much. It was better not to provoke him. Little Ning, you must remember that the dark turmoil devours, not only life, but also a lot more. Qin Luo's expression was somewhat complicated. It was leaning towards pain. Apart from life, a lot more? Ning Tian frowned as he carefully pondered over Qin Luo's words. Little Ning, there is one more important thing that you must understand. Qin Luo sighed deeply and looked at Ning Tian. The true dark turmoil has yet to completely descend. The true dark turmoil has yet to descend? Hearing this, Ning Tian was stunned. You will know in the future. Qin Luo shook his head, patted Ning Tian's shoulder and walked to the side. Get ready, we are almost there. Okay. Ning Tian nodded, but his tightly knitted brows did not relax. The true dark turmoil, when would it descend? Several days later. Boom. Ning Tian and the others rushed out of the void and slowly landed on a piece of land. This place is... Looking at the somewhat familiar surroundings, Ning Tian could not help but frown. The more he looked at this place, the more familiar it seemed. It was as if he had been here before. Ha ha! Little Ning, it's not strange that you find it unfamiliar since it's your first time here. This is the Big Dipper region of the Big Dipper Star region. Qin Luo chuckled and explained. Big Dipper region? Hearing these 3 words, Ning Tian's expression suddenly became strange. After all, he had mutated the space-time laws in the Big Dipper region and arrived at the God domain a million years ago. However, it was definitely unfamiliar. However, this was the first time he had come to the Big Dipper domain a million years ago. So the Big Dipper Tower didn't exist in the Big Dipper region a million years ago. Ning Tian looked at the vast and empty Big Dipper region. It was like a wasteland that stretched as far as the eye could see. The Big Dipper pagoda that he had seen before did not exist in Big Dipper City. Master, what is it? Ling glanced at him. I'm fine. Ning Tian shook his head. He looked at Qin Luo and asked, So, Uncle Qin, why did you bring us here? Naturally, it is to complete the final function of the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Let's go. Come with me. Qin Luo smiled and headed to the center of the Big Dipper region. Ning Tian, Ling, and the others had no choice but to follow him. Very soon, the group followed Qin Luo to the center of the Big Dipper region. This place was a desert. The yellow sand was blown away by the wind. We're finally here. Qin Luo let out a long sigh of relief. His eyes were shining as he looked at the desert. He was a little excited and muttered to himself, Finally, my Qin family can be liberated. Boom. After muttering to himself, he took out the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Boom. The Heaven and Earth Cauldron slammed heavily on the ground. The surrounding yellow sand was sent flying. Next, it's the Heaven and Earth Cauldron's turn. He looked up at the sky. The right time, place, and people are all in place. It's time to start. Qin Luo took a deep breath. Then, he placed the Heaven and Earth Cauldron in front of him and punched it heavily. Bang! The wind from the punch blasted out. The Heaven and Earth Cauldron also exploded. Around them, the yellow sand scattered. A huge altar emerged from the yellow sand. This is... Ning Tian looked over. Under the yellow sand was a huge altar array. There were various ancient runes on the array. One after another, it was enough to see the ancient altar. The most important thing was, there was a huge aura in the altar. This aura was very strong. It was so strong that it surpassed ordinary supreme ancient gods. Boom! At this moment, Qin Luo circulated his spiritual energy and controlled the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. He walked toward the altar. At the center of the altar, there was a groove. It was obvious that the groove was tailor-made for the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. Elders, I'll have to trouble you. Qin Luo's expression was solemn. He placed the Heaven and Earth Cauldron on the groove, but did not place it completely. He turned to look at Village Chief Qin and the other elders. Okay. Village Chief Qin and the others nodded. Then, they walked toward the 7 positions on the altar. 7 elders. They corresponded to the positions of the 7 stars. Qin Luo took a deep breath and looked up at the sky. He muttered, The right time and place are all in place. Next, we're just lacking people. Boom. He punched the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. The Heaven and Earth Cauldron slowly merged with the altar. At this moment, outside the altar, only Ning Tian and Ling were left looking at it in confusion. Little Ning, at this moment, Qin Luo's solemn voice sounded from the side. Come over and lend me a hand. I need your heavenly god's energy. You saw through me in the end. Hearing Qin Luo's words, Ning Tian's lips curled into a helpless smile. Qin Luo was not referring to the energy of the heavenly god realm, but the energy of the heavenly god body. Ling, wait for me here, Ning Tian said to Ling. Then, he moved toward the altar. Okay. Ling nodded. She played with the ice blade and waited quietly at the side. At this moment, just as Ning Tian's feet stepped on the altar, spiritual energy erupted from his body. The energy of the heavenly god body also gathered toward the altar. In an instant, the entire altar lit up. Boom! Boom! Seeing the change in the altar, Ning Tian could not help but be stunned. Ha! Indeed, the right time, place, and people. The heavenly god body really lives up to its reputation. Little Ning, it's all thanks to you. At the side, Qin Luo laughed loudly. Next, the heaven and earth cauldron seemed to have absorbed the energy of the heavenly god body. The originally pitch-black cauldron shone with light. Small runes lit up one after another. More and more light appeared, illuminating the surroundings. Boom! It's finally done. Seeing this, Qin Luo's eyes flashed. Elders, quickly circulate your spiritual energy. He let out a roar. At the same time, they circulated their spiritual energy at the same time. Members of the Qin family who have been sealed for a long time, today you will finally see the light of day again. Boom! There was a loud boom. A sealing energy erupted from the heaven and earth cauldron, activating the array of the altar. At the same time, it meant that another layer of the seal was about to be lifted. There was something, it was about to come out. Ning Tian furrowed her brows and looked over. There's one more update. As for the benefits, I can only say that Mr. Bai Lu is ecstatic. Chapter 6:15. When the heaven and earth cauldron merged with the altar, a powerful sealing force erupted from within. At the same time, Ning Tian clearly sensed that a layer of sealing force under the altar had loosened. This is exchanging force for force? When a new sealing force emerges, the old sealing force will dissipate. Ning Tian frowned as his gaze fell on the surroundings of the altar. Boom, boom, boom. When the sealing force of the heaven and earth cauldron gradually enveloped the altar, an invisible black hole quickly appeared in everyone's line of sight. It was like another space within the black hole. Heaven and earth cauldron. Seal. Qin Luo roared as the array in his hands changed. Spiritual energy continuously gushed out from his body as his robes fluttered in the wind. His aura constantly spread out in all directions. I've guarded this place for so long. It's time for my Qin family to see the light of day again. Qin Luo clenched his teeth as he muttered to himself. Boom! They saw. After a loud explosion, thousands of figures slowly appeared from the black hole. This is the missing young men of Qin village. Looking at the figures in the black hole, Ning Tian instantly thought of this possibility. There was a seal in the Big Dipper domain, and the young men of Qin village were the ones who provided the power for this huge seal. Now, his purpose of coming here was to use the heaven and earth cauldron to replace the young men of Qin village. He wanted to bring back the power of Qin village. So, there is a seal under the Big Dipper domain. Ning Tian rubbed his chin and muttered to himself. Once he returned to his timeline, he would be able to get to the bottom of this matter. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the wind howled in his ears. Due to the replacement of the seal, the surrounding energy was loosened. Uncle Qin, quickly bring your people out. The space around the altar is about to collapse. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian frowned slightly as he hurriedly shouted at Qin Luo, who was not far away. F***ck. This daddy knows? But I can't do anything about it. These guys have all fallen into a deep sleep. At the side, Qin Luo helplessly scolded. Then help me stabilize the space. I'll control the laws and bring them out. Ning Tian shouted in a low voice. Then, taking advantage of the gap when Qin Luo was helping to stabilize the space, he directly used the law of space. The law of space transformed into an invisible giant hand that grabbed the thousands of figures in the black hole and lifted them up. Boom! As the spatial hand exerted force, the surrounding space began to shatter, and a series of shattering sounds could be heard. Crack! 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 Ning brat, hurry up! I can't hold on any longer. Qin Luo clenched his teeth and shouted. His forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Soon. Ning Tian let out a long sigh of relief. The spiritual sea within his body surged violently. Even for him, controlling such a massive amount of space laws was an enormous burden. Brat Ning, I can't hold on any longer. Last 3 seconds, by the side. Qin Luo's entire body was like a deflated balloon, and his spiritual energy was dissipating at a speed visible to the naked eye. 3, 2. There was only 1 second left. The surrounding space collapsed, and the altar began to fall downwards. 1. When Qin Luo shouted the last second, his aura instantly dissipated, and his entire body collapsed on the altar. It was also at this moment that village chief Qin and the others hurriedly pulled him away to prevent him from falling along with the altar. On the other side of the altar, feeling the fall of the altar, Ning Tian clenched his teeth. At this moment, all of his spiritual sea surged, and the invisible giant hand dragged the thousands of figures. A loud shout. It resounded in all directions. Rise for me. Boom boom. The giant hand rose. The thousands of figures were thrown onto the ground of the Big Dipper region. Finally, Ning Tian heavily exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. At this moment, the altar began to fall downwards. Hurry! Hurry up and save Brat Ning. Don't let him fall with us. By the side, Qin Luo lay weakly on the ground. Looking at Ning Tian, who was still on the altar, his expression immediately changed. At this moment the altar was about to fall. If Ning Tian did not leave, then he could only fall with the altar. Yes, village chief Qin and the others also had a solemn expression. Just as they were about to move, a figure flew past them, rushing towards the altar. On the altar. This space law, with my current strength, it is still difficult for me to fully utilize it. Ning Tian's lips curled into a bitter smile. The spiritual energy in his body was basically exhausted. It would be difficult for him to escape. Damn it, am I going to fall in this endless seal? Ning Tian cursed. Around him, the altar fell. At this moment, his body also fell downward. But, at this moment, a pair of hands grabbed him. Master, hold on to me tightly. A cold and anxious voice sounded from the top of his head. Ling? Ning Tian was stunned. He raised his head and saw that at the edge of the abyss, Ling was lying on the ground. Her small face was filled with anxiety. Both of her hands were tightly grabbing onto him, not letting him fall downwards. Master, hold on to me tightly. Ling repeated her previous words as her small hands continued to exert strength. Really? I don't know what to do with you. Ning Tian shook his head helplessly. Then, he grabbed onto Ling's small hands. At this moment, village chief Qin and the others rushed over and helped Ling pull Ning Tian up. Boom! The altar fell into the abyss. It was completely sealed. The yellow sand once again filled everything up. It was as if nothing had happened. Phew, little Ning, luckily you didn't die. Looking at Ning Tian, who was lying on the ground, Qin Luo took a deep breath and couldn't help but grin. Ha! With my disciple around, I won't die. Ning Tian shook his head. This matter, it is all thanks to you. I didn't expect there to be another layer of space. If it wasn't for you, perhaps everything would have ended in failure, Qin Luo said sincerely to Ning Tian, also lying on the ground. If you want to thank me, just write a signboard and let my name go down in history. Ha! Ning Tian casually joked. Sure. Then I'll write your name, Ning Buxu? Qin Luo laughed loudly. You really want to write it? Ning Tian frowned. Of course. Then don't write Ning Buxu. Just write, Decent Taoist. Ning Tian seemed to have thought of something. Decent Taoist? A brat like you can be considered decent? It's good that I'm more decent than you. You stinking brat. You're so King heartless. The two exhausted people lay on the ground and cursed. Ling, who was sitting at the side, heaved a sigh of relief. Almost. Just a little bit more and her master would have left her. Congratulations, host, for completing the 5th event. Time energy is currently at 100%. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. 3rd update has been released. Those who want that benefit can join the group. 855240517. This is a group of pure characters. If you don't like Bai Lu, you don't have to join. Chapter 6:16. Time Scissors Energy Replenishment Complete. In his mind, as the system's voice rang out, the space around Ning Tian seemed to have changed slightly. The time scissors lying in the storage ring also shone with a bright blue light. It was as if it had cut through the flow of time and space, and a ticking sound could be heard. Ning Tian knew very well that it was time for him to leave. Phew! It seems that I've completed what I wanted to do. Ning Tian muttered in his heart and sighed. The past was interesting, but it was better for him to return to his own timeline. What the heck? Ning brat, you've turned into light. At this moment, Qin Luo, who was beside him, could not help but exclaim. Hearing this, village chief Qin and the others quickly looked over. When they saw that Ning Tian's body was glowing with a faint blue light, their expressions changed slightly. What was this strange blue light? Master, are you all right? Ling looked over nervously. I'm fine. Ning Tian chuckled and slowly climbed up from the ground. He reached out his large hand and rubbed Ling's head. Ling, you must work hard in the future. Even if I'm not here, I hope to see the cold god technique shine in your hands. Yes, I will. Master, you. Ling nodded heavily. She seemed to have heard the meaning of Ning Tian's words and could not help but feel nervous. She held the ice blade in her hand and did not know what to do. Ning brat, what do you mean by that? Qin Luo frowned and climbed up from the ground, looking at Ning Tian. Nothing. It's just that I should go do what I need to do. Ning Tian chuckled and shook his head. Qin Luo was silent. He then pointed at Ling and said in a deep voice, Where's Ling? This girl is your new disciple. Don't forget that this girl has no family. To her, you are her only family. Are you not going to take her with you? Hearing this, Ning Tian could not help but fall silent. He looked at the silent Ling, clenched his fist, and shook his head helplessly. I'm sorry, Ling. I can't bring you with me. If he were to take Ling away now, everything would fall into chaos. Although it was somewhat cruel, it was a fact that could not be changed. It's all right, Master. I am already used to being alone. Even if I am alone, it doesn't matter. I will wait for Master's return. Ling shook her head and tightened her grip on the ice blade in her hand. Even though she was only a teenage girl, her maturity far exceeded that of her peers. Ling Tian smiled bitterly. At this moment, the blue light on Ning Tian's body grew brighter and brighter, and the space around him gradually began to tremble. Even the scissors of time within his storage ring appeared at this moment. However, only Ning Tian could see that it was cutting through the flow of time and space. A boundless suction force began to pull Ning Tian. Uncle Qin, Ling, wait for me. One day we will meet again. The blue light on Ning Tian's body became more and more dazzling. He smiled at Qin Luo, Ling, and the others. Stinking brat. All right, I got it. If you continue to disappear like this, I will beat you up. Also, take care of yourself, brat. Qin Luo snorted and waved at Ning Tian. I will. Ning Tian chuckled. They would definitely meet again. However, their identities would be completely different then. The blue light shone brightly. The flow of time began to appear. Ning Tian's body began to fade within the dazzling blue light until he completely disappeared. Master. Just as Ning Tian's body was about to disappear, a hoarse, sobbing voice sounded from the side. I will wait for you to return. Ling looked at Ning Tian, who was slowly being swallowed by the blue light. She glared at him fiercely. The more she glared at him, the more she wanted to remember Ning Tian. Ning Tian chuckled and shook his head at Ling. Silly girl. Master is not going to die. In any case, we will meet again one day. Don't worry and go do what you want to do. Master will wait for your good news. At this moment, his body completely disappeared. Master, Ling will definitely return, Ling murmured. She looked in the direction where the blue light disappeared and gripped the ice blade in her hand tightly. Definitely, definitely. A million years passed in a blink of an eye. That stinking brat really left just like that. How heartless. Seeing this, Qin Luo shook his head helplessly. Qin Luo, what should we do now? Village Chief Qin and the others looked over and couldn't help but frown. Clearly, they were deeply puzzled by Ning Tian's sudden departure. Let's leave it at that. Don't speak carelessly about that brat. Bring them back, Qin Luo warned. Then, he looked at the unconscious Qin clan members. If it wasn't for that brat, their Qin clan might not have had this opportunity. Amen. Village Chief Qin and the others nodded. Ling, what do you plan to do next? After Qin Luo instructed Village Chief Qin and the others, he couldn't help but look at Ling, who was holding the ice blade tightly. Cultivate and become stronger. Return to the southern frost star ocean and wait for Master's return. Ling held the ice blade and said indifferently. Her eyes shone with an unshakable light. Since she had made up her mind, no one could change her mind. Qin Luo sighed. Qin Luo was silent for a while before sighing. Follow us while you cultivate. The heavenly demon cult needs you too. Amen. Ling nodded slightly and followed him. At this moment, everyone left the Big Dipper region. It was as if nothing had happened here. Sigh. Seal after seal. Can the heaven and earth cauldron really seal it? Looking at the yellow sand, Qin Luo couldn't help but sigh. Regardless, their Qin clan's mission was completed. Definitely. At this moment, a voice rang out. A figure shrouded in black stepped out of the void. His voice was cold and emotionless. For the right path, there is no other choice. We must correct everything to have the desired future. Hearing this, Qin Luo's expression turned solemn. He turned around and saw the face under the black robe. His pupils shrank and he sighed helplessly. How heartless! How unbelievable! A sigh. He also turned around and left. The Big Dipper region was finally peaceful. Time stopped flowing and slowly dissipated. Everything returned to normal. At this moment, more than 2 years had passed in the Divine region. The Big Dipper region. The 6th floor of the Big Dipper Pagoda. A part of the space was torn apart and the dazzling blue light continued to dissipate. A figure rolled out of the void and fell heavily to the ground. Damn, can't you be more gentle? Don't you know that I've used up all my spirit energy? Ning Tian lay on the ground and couldn't help but curse. There are 2 more updates. The benefit is that the author has hired an artist at his own expense to draw a character illustration of Bai Lu. Those who are interested can join the group. Just one group is enough. There's no need for multiple groups. Give others a chance to join. 4 groups of Bai Lu. 864441846. 5 groups of Bai Lu. 862313384. Chapter 6:17. Phew, it seems. I've returned to the 6th floor of the Big Dipper Pagoda. Ning Tian looked at the familiar surroundings and couldn't help but sigh. He wondered what had happened in the outside world during his disappearance. My wife and the others must be worried sick. Ning Tian smiled helplessly. He had disappeared for more than 2 years. Luo Wuqing and the others must be worried sick. Once I recover my spiritual energy, I'll go out, he murmured. Suddenly, he seemed to have seen something. His pupils shrank and he smiled bitterly. Those 2 silly women, they're so silly. They actually used such a silly method. Ning Tian shook his head. Warmth flowed in his heart. He saw the walls of the 6th floor of the Big Dipper Pagoda were carved with word. Every sentence and word was deeply engraved on the wall. One must know that the walls of the Big Dipper Pagoda were indestructible. It was extremely difficult to carve words, let alone carve words on the entire wall. On the wall, there were many words left by the two women. They had carved their words deeply, afraid that Ning Tian wouldn't be able to see them when he appeared. Among the words on the wall, the one that left the deepest impression on Ning Tian was, "Husband, we'll wait for your return." Sigh. What a sin! Ning Tian sighed. He thought of Ling again. To him, 1,000,000 years passed in the blink of an eye, but to Ling, 1,000,000 years had truly passed. Time passed by in her eyes, not a single second passed by in the blink of an eye. Sigh, Ning Tian sighed again. Still, the only thing he could breathe a sigh of relief about was that once he found his wife and the others, he would head for the southern Frost Star Sea. He wanted to know what had actually happened all those years ago, what had caused Ling to freeze the entire heavenly demon cult, and where had Qin Luo run off to. These, he would reveal them one by one. Shortly after, Ning Tian sat down cross-legged and began to recover his spiritual energy. Several hours later, after entering the heavenly god realm, the rate at which I recover my spiritual energy has become much faster. 100 million points of spiritual energy should be enough for me for the time being. At the center of the 6th floor, Ning Tian slowly opened his eyes. The spiritual qi in his body surged, and he had already recovered 70 to 80%. In that case, let's go. Sooner or later, I will obtain the Big Dipper Pagoda. Ning Tian looked at the surrounding walls. The reason he wanted to control the Big Dipper Tower was simple. It wasn't because of how good the tower was. It was because the 6th floor was filled with the words of his first wife. These were all proof of her love for him. More than 2 years have passed. I wonder how the outside world is doing. Ning Tian murmured. 2 years. The changes should be huge. When Ning Tian came out from the 6th floor of the Big Dipper Pagoda, the pit that he had Kuang Sha and the others dig out 2 years ago had already disappeared. The surrounding area was still yellow sand. It was as if it was 1,000,000 years ago. The outside world is also filled with yellow sand. This Big Dipper secret realm is also filled with yellow sand. Is the heaven and earth cauldron sealed outside or inside the secret realm? Ning Tian murmured and looked around. After sensing for a while, he didn't find anything unusual. It had been 1,000,000 years. It was inevitable that there would be huge changes. Forget it. Let's go out first. Ning Tian shook his head. Although the Big Dipper secret realm was closed, he didn't have the mandate of heaven. Therefore, he could continue to stay here. Then, Ning Tian directly used the law of space and tore open a space in the Big Dipper secret realm. He turned around and stepped into it. At this moment, outside the Big Dipper secret realm, in the Big Dipper domain. Although the Big Dipper secret realm's trial had ended and the secret realm was closed, cultivators were still allowed to stay in the Big Dipper domain. There were still many cultivators here, looking for opportunities. Hey! Did you hear? The Heavenly Palace's ancestral master is dead. Just 2 years ago, all the cultivators who entered the Big Dipper Tower came out of the Big Dipper secret realm. Only the Heavenly Palace's ancestral master didn't come out. If he's not dead, then what is he? The Heavenly Palace's ancestral master? Isn't that the Heaven Demolishing Gate's ancestral master? Those two are the same person. TSK. 2 years ago was probably the worst trial of the Big Dipper secret realm, right? Many cultivators can't forget the strange trap set by the Heavenly Palace's ancestral master. It's said that the saintess who fell for the dance formation at that time only stopped dancing a few days ago. Moreover, the guardians in the Big Dipper Tower are F***king many times stronger. It's said that the Heavenly Palace's ancestral master is behind this. Now that he's dead, it can be considered retribution. It's just a pity that his 2 beautiful wives died. Back then, those 2 celestial immortals came out with red eyes. And that stupid lion, it didn't even know how to roar. It kept mumbling the whole time. Sigh, what a pity. There were still some cultivators in the Big Dipper city who stayed in the city and discussed animatedly. While these cultivators were discussing, they didn't notice at all that a black figure floated behind them. I'm dead? Ning Tian tore open the void and came out of the Big Dipper's secret realm. The most he heard was that the Heavenly Palace's ancestral master was dead. Does disappearing mean he's dead? Ning Tian couldn't help but roll his eyes. When he heard that the 2 women came out of the Big Dipper's secret realm with red eyes, his heart couldn't help but tremble. His concubines were fine. After all, Sui Weiyao was good at expressing her feelings. Luo Wuqing was different. She was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. In front of outsiders, no matter what happened, she would always maintain a cold appearance. The fact that she showed red eyes in front of outsiders was enough to show how sad she was in her heart. What a sin! It seems that when I go back, I'll have to make it up to my wives. Ning Tian sighed. The compensation he was talking about was naturally the most serious form of compensation. It was a wholehearted compensation. As for the stupid lion that only knew how to babble, he was completely ignored by Ning Tian. Those guys from the fire domain, they really don't know what's good for them. At this moment, Ning Tian heard an extremely unhappy snort. Young master, calm down. This matter, I think it's better to let it go. After all, it's the Heavenly Palace. Not far away, an old man was comforting a young man in luxurious clothes. The corners of his mouth lifted into a wry smile. It seemed that he couldn't do anything about his young master. So what if it's the Heavenly Palace? The young man snorted. However, after thinking about it carefully, he quickly corrected himself. The Heavenly Palace is strong, but it can't interfere with personal matters, right? The Heavenly Palace's ancestral master died in the Big Dipper Pagoda. It won't hinder me, right? Isn't it just going to the fire domain to ask for a marriage? In any case, I'm from the Southern Flight Star Sea and the Heavenly Ice family. Aren't I a perfect match with Luo Wuqing, Ice and Fire? That old bastard from the fire domain, I didn't even finish my words before he chased me out. How dare he? I didn't even despise Luo Wuqing for being a broken shoe. There's one more update. Those who haven't joined the group, don't worry. The author is preparing to create a public account. There will be new illustrations for the main character of this book, as well as additional chapters. In the future, the additional chapters will be published on the public account. After all, once it's finished, the chapters can't be published. Chapter 6:18. A fellow Taoist? Hearing Bai Lu's words, the Lord of Earthly Soul was stunned for a moment. He didn't quite understand what this silly girl was talking about, but he still followed her slowly. When the Lord of Earthly Soul saw the direction Bai Lu was looking at, he couldn't help but frown. There was a soul flickering back and forth in the Earth-Soul soil in front of them. One moment it appeared in the Earth-Soul world, the next moment it disappeared. And the most interesting thing was, every time this soul came to the Earth-Soul world, the fatal sword wound on its body was completely different from before. It had experienced all kinds of ways to die. This is the alternation of the law of death and the law of life. Coming back from the dead, this kind of method is not ordinary. The Lord of Earthly Soul frowned. Although he was unhappy with this soul jumping back and forth in the Earth-Soul world, he was still impressed by this method and was somewhat moved. Who is it? The Lord of Earthly Soul frowned and murmured. It's a certain fellow Taoist Ning. Bai Lu held the willow branch in her hand and said, Fellow Taoist Ning? The Lord of Earthly Soul raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but tease. What? Is it Bai Lu's little husband? Ah Sigma, degree winky face. Bai Lu panicked and her little face turned red. Hey! Why is the soul blushing? D. Senior Earth Soul. Don't spout nonsense. He's just a fellow Taoist Ning. Yes. He's just a fellow Taoist Ning, a fellow Taoist Ning. Bai Lu was speechless. Oh. He's just a fellow Taoist Ning. Why are you so flustered? The Lord of Earthly Soul looked like a wily old fox and saw through it at a glance. Bai Lu was silent and squatted down. Girl, why are you drawing circles? Are you cursing me? The Lord of Earthly Soul slowly typed a question mark. No. I'm cursing fellow Taoist Ning. Bai Lu was indignant. The Lord of Earthly Soul, the two of them fell into silence. One of them drew circles while watching the soul jump around repeatedly, while the other frowned and studied it carefully. He was seriously thinking about how to stop this bug. If it continued like this, then wouldn't he, the Lord of the Earth Soul Realm, lose face? After a while, this soul had finally descended upon the Earth spirit world. It had died a total of 50,000 times, not one more, not one less. It's finally over. Since he has already experienced the torment from above, then next, he can accept the torment from the Earth spirit world. The owner of the earthly spirit glanced at him indifferently. With a wave of his hand, the soul was swept away and thrown into an earth fire cage in the earthly spirit world. Every spirit soul that entered the Earth Soul world had to experience the torment of the Earth Soul world. Of course, there were some exceptions. Young Master Tianbing probably didn't expect that after dying 50,000 times while he was alive, he still couldn't live a good life. Alright, little Bai Lu, you've finished watching the show. Now you can come with me to cultivate, right? You can't waste your physique. The Lord of Earth Soul looked at Bai Lu helplessly. Hearing this, Bai Lu stood up from the ground and carefully kept the willow branch. Then, she hugged the death bell, which was formed by the spirit body's energy, and nodded. Senior Earthly Spirit, after I finish today's cultivation, can I go and look for Nethery? Nethery? Hearing this name, the Lord of Earth Soul was stunned for a moment. Then, his expression changed drastically, and his body seemed to tremble at this moment. Little Bai Lu, you saw her? N. Nethery is so cute, just like a porcelain doll. Bai Lu hugged the death bell and nodded. I actually saw her. At this moment, the Lord of Earth Soul's heart was beating wildly. Cold sweat kept dripping down from his forehead. There was a flash of fear in his eyes. He looked at Bai Lu seriously and said sternly, Little Bai Lu, don't go and look for her in the future. And? Bai Lu was stunned. She tilted her head in confusion. She is not someone to be trifled with. The Lord of Earth Soul shook his head. When he spoke, his body was trembling. She doesn't belong to this world. On a high cliff in the Earth Soul world, the sun shone gently. A young girl with a ponytail was sitting on the high cliff, hugging her slender legs. Her long eyelashes fluttered slightly as she looked into the distance. Although the young girl was young, her face was beautiful. One look and one could tell that when she grew up, she would be devastatingly beautiful. Everything seemed peaceful. But one had to know. This was the Earth Soul world. There was no light at all. Where would the sunlight come from? The ghostly aura around the young girl flowed. All the soul energy around her was deeply afraid of her. It was as if she could cause a change in the Earth Soul world with just a raise of her hand. Or the entire Earth Soul world was changing because of the fear of this young girl. Tianxian, the young girl's cherry lips moved slightly. Her willowy eyebrows slightly furrowed as she murmured. At this moment, in the Big Dipper city, Ning Tian looked indifferently at the dead young Master Tianbing. His expression was incomparably calm. He silently kept the Scarlet Heaven sword in his hand. Everything was so indifferent. It was as if he had just crushed an ant to death. So strong. This is no longer a matter of whether he is strong or not. This is King ridiculous. The Heavenly Palace's ancestral master, is actually that strong? Heavenly Palace. To be able to have a relationship with the Heavenly Palace, none of them can be provoked. The surrounding cultivators were all completely dumbfounded. They had seen young Master Tian Bing die and live again with their own eyes. It was simply King ridiculous. Was this something that a human could do? Chew, at this moment. Ning Tian sneezed and touched his nose. Were his wives thinking of him, or were they cursing him? You have shocked the surrounding cultivators. Reward. Divine will technique. And at this moment, the system's voice rang in his mind. Why would the hosts need to personally deal with things that can be solved with divine will? Divine will? Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. The corners of his mouth curled up. He couldn't help but be curious. He looked at the thick and tall city walls of the Big Dipper city not far away and couldn't help but be eager to give it a try. Divine will break. He softly spat out a word. Boom. In an instant, a huge invisible force burst out from his body. Boom. The next moment, the tall city walls of the Big Dipper city collapsed in an instant. What a powerful force. This is where do I hit? Seeing this scene, Ning Tian narrowed his eyes slightly and the corners of his mouth curled up. This move, it seemed to be quite satisfying. Phew, then, it's time to go back. Ning Tian stretched his back and was about to take out the void ship and tear space to leave when he was attracted by the name on the tall black stone tablet in the Big Dipper city. Although I didn't leave my name this time, but I've already left my name in another way. There are 2 more updates. WeChat public account. Across the river, I will update the character illustrations of this book from time to time, as well as the epilogue after the book ends. If you're interested, you can follow me. There's no need to enter the group. Chapter 6:19. He looked towards the highest point on the black stone tablet. Even though the second character of the 4 characters had already become indistinct due to the passage of time, Ning Tian still understood in his heart that it was the 4 characters Decent Taoist, Chapter 6:14. I didn't expect Qin Luo to really engrave it on me and even engrave it on the ranking board. Ning Tian couldn't help but smile and shake his head. The names on the ink-colored stone tablet were extremely clear and protected by the heavenly Tao. It was because these were the names left behind after challenging the pagoda. The reason why the word Decent Taoist was blurred was because it was merely engraved. There are still many secrets in the Big Dipper region. It seems like I can only slowly uncover them in the future. Ning Tian shook his head. Then, under the respectful gazes of a group of Big Dipper city cultivators, he tore open a void and stepped into it. Fire region. Luo God City, Luo family. The sky was already dark and the moonlight tonight was really beautiful. Wuqing, are you ready? Today we must go out. Who knows, we might be able to find our husband this time. In the courtyard of the Luo family, 2 beautiful figures sneakily walked along the wall. By the looks of it, they were preparing to carry out a large-scale prison break. Yes? Luo Wuqing nodded slightly. At this moment, both of them were wearing black clothes that vividly outlined their voluptuous figures. Both of them were very careful. They held their breaths and stuck their heads out from the wall to look outside. Outside the courtyard, several armored guards were standing guard at the entrance. Wuqing, isn't your grandfather too ruthless? He actually sent a few 6-stars heavenly gods to watch over us. Su Yueyao pursed her lip. Her 9 fox-tails swayed as if to express her master's dissatisfaction. In more than 2 years, the 2 of them had made some breakthroughs. Although they had both reached the 3 stars heavenly god realm, the guys outside were all 6 stars heavenly god realm. Even if they could defeat them, the most important thing was to sneak away. There's no other way. Husband left. Grandfather was worried that we would cause trouble, so he could only use this method. Luo Wuqing held his forehead helplessly. Trouble? Su Yueyao stuck out her tongue playfully. She clenched her fists and said seriously, Wuching, I have a feeling that I'll find my husband this time. This is the 321st time you've said this to me. Luo Wuching rolled his eyes at her. That's right. They had already broken out of prison 321 times. But every time, he would return disappointed. Her husband seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Even when she went to ask Yi Shuang and the others, the answer she got was only one word: wait. Wait. If she knew that Ning Tian was in danger, she would be willing to wait for him no matter how many years it took. However, her own husband's safety was unknown. How could she obediently wait for him? Yes, so many times, but Wuching, didn't you go with me every time? Su Yueyao's purple eyes flashed with a touch of ridicule. Then, she secretly hugged Luo Wuching from behind. Her hands were naughty. Haha, Wuching, look at you. You're so haggard. If you see your husband in this state, he'll be so distressed. Luo Wuching's whole body quivered. He quickly rolled his eyes at her and broke free. You pervert, stay away from me. Haha. Su Yueyao chuckled and poked her head out of the courtyard. How about we use the law of time to stop time for those guys? Then we'll take advantage of this time to run out? I think so too. Luo Wuching nodded seriously. He raised his hand slightly and a ticking sound was heard. Time stop. She raised her lily-white hand. At this moment, golden light flickered and spread in all directions. It fell on the several guards. In an instant, their bodies turned gray. Their time has been stopped. If Ning Tian saw this scene, he would definitely be shocked. It's only been 2 years and his first wife's control of the law of time has reached this level. Let's go. The guards stopped time. Luo Wuching hurriedly pulled Su Yueyao out of the courtyard. 2 beautiful figures in black sneaked out of Luo City. Then now, where are we going? Su Yueyao tilted her head and asked. 9 white fluffy fox tails emitted a beautiful luster under the moonlight. Let's go to the Big Dipper domain again. I have a hunch that this time, we'll definitely gain something. Luo Wuching was silent for a moment. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a determined luster. She had never given up searching for her husband in the past 2 years because she firmly believed that nothing would happen to him. The man who had always brought her miracles would finally return to her side with a miracle. Then let's go. In the dark night, the 2 stepped into the void and prepared to head to the Big Dipper region. However, the moment the 2 stepped into the void, an even more powerful spatial force emerged. Then, in the dark night sky, 3 figures emerged from the void. A figure hugged the 2 women in his arms. A familiar smirking voice sounded in their ears. Ladies, it's so late. Be careful of old perverts who covet your beauty. Fortunately, you 2 met a decent person like me. Otherwise, the 2 of you might be in danger tonight. You have to be careful. After all, there's only one decent person like me in this world. Ning Tian smirked and hugged the 2 women tightly in his arms. After not seeing him for 2 years, the 2 women must be extremely worried about him. Even their bodies have lost a lot of weight. They're not as plump as before. Hubby? Luo Wuching was stunned. Ha! A decent person, do you want to touch me as soon as you see me? Su Yueyao giggled and looked at a certain guy's naughty hand. But she didn't stop him. Her beautiful eyes were already a little wet. Okay, I just disappeared for a while. Don't cry. Ning Tian chuckled and rubbed Su Yueyao's swaying fox ears. His tone was full of doting. Hiss, suddenly. He felt a bite on his shoulder. Little wife, are you a dog? Ning Tian sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at the row of small marks on his shoulder, he couldn't help but say helplessly. Haha, I'm a fox. Su Yueyao snorted. Her fox tail swayed and then she broke free from Ning Tian's embrace. I've vented my anger. Next, it's Wuching's turn. Hubby, Wuching missed you these 2 years. Finished. She flashed to the side and looked at the 2 with a smile. Wife, did you miss me? Ning Tian held Luo Wuching in his arms and whispered in her ear. Humph. Miss? Why would I miss you? Luo Wuqing was held in Ning Tian's arms, but she kept her head down. Her hair covered her face. Hearing Ning Tian's words, she couldn't help but snort. Chapter 620. Hearing his wife's words, Ning Tian couldn't help but smile helplessly. He finally understood where his wife's tsundere came from. It was obvious that she had inherited Qin Luo's tsundere genes. You really don't miss your husband? Ning Tian's lips curled into a playful smile. I don't. Luo Wuqing's tone was still cold. However, as soon as she finished speaking, Ning Tian's hand reached over and gently lifted her chin. Her beautiful hair scattered and a breathtakingly beautiful face appeared in front of Ning Tian. But a trace of mist appeared in her beautiful eyes. She clenched her silver teeth to prevent the tears from falling. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian was stunned. This woman was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. She was also terrifyingly stubborn. She was simply the opposite of Su Yueyao. At the very least, his little wife would properly express her feelings. Silly woman, Ning Tian sighed and hugged Luo Wuqing in his arms and whispered in her ear. Aren't I back now? Luo Wuqing softly replied and buried her face in Ning Tian's chest, frantically sniffing that familiar scent. Wuqing, you're too cunning. I want it too. Seeing this scene, Su Yueyao curled her lips and her fluffy fox tail swayed back and forth in dissatisfaction. The originally pitch-black Luo God city below became brightly lit in an instant. More and more auras appeared below and several ear-piercing sounds resounded from below. A loud roar resounded in all directions and pierced through the silent night sky. How dare you! How dare you touch this old man's precious granddaughter! In an instant, following this furious roar, a huge fireball smashed towards Ning Tian. Husband, be careful! Seeing this scene, Luo Wuqing's pretty face changed slightly. She directly stood in front of Ning Tian to block this move. No need. However, Ning Tian held her hand and shook his head slightly. Then, he raised his other hand and a burst of spatial power appeared. 4 words came out of his mouth: spatial transfer. Boom. In an instant, the space around the blazing fireball that was flying towards Ning Tian changed. In the next moment, it was engulfed by the void and blasted out of Luo God City in the blink of an eye. Bang! The flames soared into the sky. Fortunately, there was no one around. Is this the power of space? The people from the Heavenly Ice family even know this move? Not far away, Empyrean God Xingsun was taken aback. My dear Grandpa, it's only been 2 years since we last met, and you're already trying to kill your precious grandson-in-law. At this moment, Saint Sun God heard a voice that was engraved in his DNA. F***CK. This despicable voice, it's that stinking brat. Saint Sun Deity immediately reacted. He had a deep impression of this handsome pig who had taken his precious granddaughter. Good lad, you're finally back. Saint Sun Deity moved and flashed to the side of Ning Tian and the other two. He couldn't help but pat his shoulder. This old man thought that it was the people from the Heavenly Ice family from the Southern Frost Star Ocean. That lad actually dared to have designs on my precious granddaughter. Him? Don't worry, he won't have this chance in the future. Ning Tian's lips curled into a cold smile. You've dealt with him? Hearing Ning Tian's words, Saint Sun Deity raised his brows. It's just a coincidence. I'm just helping him end his evil life. Ning Tian's tone was indifferent. The ancestor was a good person. What evil thoughts could he have? He was just helping the Heavenly Ice family to die earlier. TSK. What a wife-protecting maniac. Saint Sun Deity sighed and couldn't help but shake his head. Then, he looked at the 2 girls in black clothes and said helplessly, You 2 lasses, are you thinking of running out again? This is already more than 300 times, right? Now that this stinky brat is back, you 2 should know your place. The 2 girls lowered their heads and said, and, you stinky brat, Where did you run off to? Saint Sun Deity looked at Ning Tian and said snappily, Do you know how much this old man's precious granddaughter of mine has missed you these past 2 years? She is. However, before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Luo Wuqing. Grandfather. Luo Wuqing's pretty face blushed. She couldn't help but grumble. She looked very cute. My wife is still the cutest. She's much cuter than that fish-headed sister. Seeing the two girls, Ning Tian instantly felt redeemed. Compared to Princess Tianyu, his 2 wives were his salvation. Fish-headed sister? Luo Wuqing raised her brows and the blush on her pretty face faded. She regained her cool look and looked at Ning Tian with a questioning look. Cough, this, Ning Tian coughed. He already felt a slender hand caressing his waist at this moment. Just as he was about to run, he felt a pair of soft hands on his back. He saw Sui Weiao hugging him from behind. A sly look flashed in her eyes and the corner of her mouth raised slightly. Wuqing, I caught him. Quick, punish him. Humph! Luo Wuqing snorted and exerted a little force. Then, a scream pierced through the night sky. TSK, TSK. So miserable. On the side, Saint Sun Deity sighed. After a while, Ning Tian clutched his waist and grimaced in pain. Hiss! You hit me too hard. My wife, it seems that the 2 of you will be living widows in the future. I'm crippled. Ah? Hearing this, Luo Wuqing's red lips moved slightly. She was a little panicked and helpless like a little girl. On the side, Sui Weiao crossed her chest with one hand and covered her mouth with the other. Hee hubby, are you really crippled? Crippled? Ning Tian pretended to be in pain and nodded. Really? That's a pity. Sui Weiao came over and whispered to Ning Tian in a voice that only the 2 of them could hear. Originally, I wanted to drag Wuqing to wear the Dragon Clan's maid's clothes tonight to celebrate your return. It seems you won't be able to use it even if you wear it. Dragon Clan's maid service? Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. It's an improved version. It's shorter and more tempting. What a pity. Sui Weiao was fanning the flames. She covered her mouth and chuckled. The charm in her words made Ning Tian's mouth go dry. She couldn't help but think of the 2 women in maid outfits. He couldn't help but grit his teeth. This demon, Hubby, look, are you still crippled? Sui Weiao leaned on Ning Tian. Her slender fingers drew circles on Ning Tian's chest. Her fluffy fox tail rubbed against his body. She covered her mouth and chuckled, looking charming. Cough! I think I can still fight for 300 rounds. Ning Tian's old face darkened. He coughed and said with an honest face. Author's words, is there anyone who wants to see the 2 maids' clothes? If there are many people who want to see it, the author will draw 2 more. First, he will draw the basic picture of the 2 women, then the maid's clothes. If no one wants to see it, then forget it. After all, one picture costs hundreds or thousands. If you want to see it, you have to ask for a manuscript. Chapter 621. Haha. Hearing this, Sui Weiao giggled. Then, she elegantly and calmly broke free from Ning Tian's embrace. She looked at Luo Wuqing and said, Wuqing, look. This guy is fine. Next time you can hit him harder, phew. Okay. Luo Wuqing covered his chest and heaved a sigh of relief. Ning Tian? ? Are you kidding me? Haha, of course not. I just don't want Wuqing to worry too much. Sui Weiao shook her head and smiled. She then leaned over with a sly look in her eyes. Don't worry. You will get what you want. Sui Weiao winked at him. Ning Tian knew that he would be able to pretend to be a maid. What are you talking about? Luo Wuqing looked at them blankly. Nothing. Sui Weiao smiled and shook her head. By the way, where have you been? Xingyang God seemed to have thought of something and asked Ning Tian. They were all puzzled about Ning Tian's sudden disappearance from the Big Dipper Tower 2 years ago. Well, Ning Tian looked around at the Luo family members and smiled mysteriously. It's a secret. You little brat. Xingyang Empyrean God rolled his eyes at Ning Tian. By the way, Grandpa has something to ask you. Don't call me Grandpa. Just ask me what you want. Xingyang God said. Okay, Grandpa. I want to know if you know the whereabouts of my wife's parents, Grandfather. Ning Tian's eyes landed on the sacred sun god as he asked. Sacred sun god was taken aback. Luo Wuqing, who was beside him, also frowned. Qin Luo's whereabouts? I don't know. Xingyang God shook his head and waved his hand. Don't mention that stinking brat to me. He's a stinking brat just like you. Motherf asterisk Ker, if you want to find a rich woman, then find a rich woman. How dare you kidnap this old man's precious daughter? Just mentioning this makes this old man angry. It really is Qin Luo. Hearing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. In the end, Qin Luo's rich woman still found Luo Wuqing's mother. From the looks of it, the normal matter shouldn't be affected at all. Next, he just needed to figure out the ice seal of the 10,000 spirits nest. Perhaps then he would have a clue. Although I don't know where that fellow went before he left, he said something. He said that some seal has loosened. If you want to find him, you can try using this key information. At this moment, Xingyang Heavenly God said, I'm not worried about that brat's safety. He's very strong, but I'm a little worried about my precious daughter. If that brat were to hurt my precious daughter in the slightest, this old man would definitely fight him to the death. The seal has loosened? Hearing this, Ning Tian was taken aback. Soon, a glint flashed across his eyes. Could it be, was it related to the seal of the Heaven and Earth Cauldron? They were in the Big Dipper domain? No, the seal of the Heaven and Earth Cauldron had fallen into the void. It might not be in the Big Dipper domain. Ning Tian frowned and muttered to himself, if it's 1,000,000 years ago, it's normal for the seal to have loosened. This is a very important clue. At least we know what his current goal is. Thank you, Grandfather. Ning Tian smiled at Empyrean God Xingsun. Don't call me Grandfather. All right, Grandfather. Next, my wife and I will go and give birth to 2 fat little boys for you to play with, Ning Tian said again. Xingyang God's old face darkened at a speed visible to the naked eye. Get out of here, you stinking brat. Luo clan, in a room. Phew. Finally, I've consolidated my strength as a heavenly god. Ning Tian sat cross-legged on the soft bed and slowly opened his eyes. However, he didn't see the 2 girls in the room. The 3 of them had just entered the room together. However, Su Yueyao suddenly left with Luo Wuqing and still hadn't returned. Could it be? At this moment, Ning Tian thought of what Su Yueyao had said. His eyes lit up. The soul of a decent person in his body suddenly awakened. He couldn't help but look forward to it. What would his wife look like in a maid costume? Creak. At this moment, the door of the room creaked and a fragrant wind blew in. Honey, sorry to keep you waiting. Su Yueyao's bell-like laughter rang out. She was wearing a black and white maid costume that outlined her voluptuous figure. The short skirt just happened to reach her thighs, and there was a black ice silk on her calves. Can be understood as black si. The 9 fluffy foxtails on her head were also swaying. Behind her short skirt were 9 fluffy foxtails that made people want to play with them. It was simply cute and sexy. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian's eyes widened. He exclaimed in his heart. This Su Yueyao's dress made him sigh. It turned out that, no matter which world, maid costumes were the same? How is it? Does it look good? Su Yueyao turned around, revealing her perfect figure. She covered her mouth and chuckled at Ning Tian. It's okay. Ning Tian coughed. Only an old pervert would say it looked good. He was a decent person, so he only said it was okay. Really? Su Yueyao didn't care. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of slyness. She looked outside the door. Wuqing, why aren't you coming in? Outside the door. Luo Wuqing's hesitant voice rang out. Well, you've already worn it. Don't you want your husband to have a good look? Sui Weiao giggled and walked out of the door. She pushed Luo Wuqing, who was still hesitating outside, into the room and closed the door behind her. Hiss! The moment Luo Wuqing came in, Ning Tian's eyes suddenly lit up. He saw. Luo Wuqing was also wearing a maid costume. The only difference was that the black silk on her legs didn't reach her calves but covered the entire leg. At this moment, her originally cold face had a trace of blush. She lowered her head and grabbed the hem of her skirt. That look was very cute. Husband, do I look good? Luo Wuqing's pretty face blushed and asked in a low voice. Yes. Ning Tian coughed and nodded. Hearing this, Luo Wuqing couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Humph, biased scumbag. On the side, Sui Weiao curled her lips. Ha, no, you all look good. Ning Tian laughed. At this time, the two women walked over with a gust of fragrant wind and sat down beside Ning Tian. You? What do you want? Seeing the two women like this, Ning Tian suddenly had a bad feeling. Under normal circumstances, if his two wives in maid costumes sat next to him, he would be very happy. But now he vaguely felt that something was wrong. Chapter 6:22. Yi Wuyo frowned as he looked at the ceiling flame lion king that was hundreds of meters tall in front of him. He couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. This shouldn't be the case, logically speaking. His improved demolition art should be very damaging to the enemy. It had been more than 2 years. Why did the Flaming Lion Kings, disassemble, always deal 0 damage to enemies, but deal 200% critical true damage to buildings? Abba, Abba, the ceiling Flame Lion King roared. It wasn't the roar of a lion, but the sound of Abba. Don't talk. If there's anything, let's type it out, okay? Yi Wuyo looked at the ceiling Flame Lion King helplessly. Next, the ceiling Flame Lion King began to get busy, writing the words in the shape of a lion. Master Lion doesn't know either. Maybe this is Master Lion's specialty. Roar. As he couldn't roar, the ceiling Flame Lion King stubbornly wrote out the word roar. This. What kind of specialty is this? It shouldn't be at all. This cultivation technique has been modified by me, Yi Wuyo. No matter what, it shouldn't be useless at all. Yi Wuyo frowned. He actually felt a sense of defeat from the ceiling Flame Lion King. Why don't you try it on me? Yi Wuyo looked at the ceiling Flame Lion King. Abba, Abba? A lion language. Are you serious? The ceiling Flame Lion King raised the small wooden tablet. Yes, I'm serious. Come on, I don't believe in evil. Yi Wuyo nodded. Seeing that Yi Wuyo had already said so, the ceiling Flame Lion King did not hold back anymore. Demonic energy condensed from its body, and a red demonic energy appeared all over its body. Following that, the sky began to change color as if thunder was rumbling. Boom. Rumble. Next, above the sky, the golden word demolition appeared. Strange. Everything is clearly normal. Why is there no damage? Yi Wuyo rubbed his chin and looked up at the sky with a puzzled expression. At this moment, the golden word demolition had already landed. Boom. Boom. In an instant, a strong aura spread out in all directions. The surrounding trees collapsed, and the ground began to crack. Within a radius of 10 miles, the ground collapsed. But, this is really useless? Yi Wuyo, who was at the center of the dismantle symbol art, was completely fine. He had clearly removed all of his defenses, but, what's going on? Yi Wuyo frowned. At this moment, the sound of space being torn apart rang out in the sky, following which a colossal object slowly emerged from the void. Oh? 8th senior brother, I haven't seen you for a few years. How come you've become like this? Since when did you like not wearing clothes? At this moment, a clear and bright laughter rang out from the enormous creature. This voice, is it little junior brother? Yi Wuyo froze for a moment. He raised his head and saw Ning Tian standing on the deck of the ship, smiling at him. F***ck. It's really Junior brother. You're finally back. Yi Wuyo's eyes lit up. 8 Senior brother, why don't we put on some clothes first before catching up? Ning Tian glanced at the unsightly clothes and frowned as he slowly said. Yi Wuyo carefully typed a question mark and then lowered his head. What the F***ck? Following that, a cry of surprise startled the birds and beasts in the forest. Ning Tian couldn't help but sigh. It turned out that the cry of an ancient god realm expert was actually so powerful. Sha Tian, F***cku. When did your dismantling technique include clothes? Yi Wuyo cursed as he hurriedly took out a set of clothes and put them on. A lion language. Are you blaming me? Roar. The ceiling flame Lion King had an innocent look on its face. Sha Tian, long time no see. Ning Tian stood on the deck of the void ship and looked at the ceiling flame Lion King with a smile. Seeing Ning Tian, the ceiling flame Lion King was startled at first. Then, tears flowed down its face and a large amount of snot fell from its nose. Below, Yi Wuyo suffered again and cursed, F***ck, I just changed my clothes. You shocked the ceiling flame Lion King. Ceiling flame Lion King IQ +1. At this moment, in his mind, the system's voice sounded. Ning Tian. Roar! The ceiling flame Lion King let out a lion roar and felt that its intelligence had returned a little. 8 Senior brother, why are you and Sha Tian cultivating here? I remember that this place is very far from the Heavenly Palace, right? Looking at Yi Wuyo and the ceiling flame Lion King, Ning Tian couldn't help but ask in confusion. Cough cough, well, there's no need to mention it. Yi Wuyo coughed dryly and blushed. I won't tell you. It's because we used the dismantling technique too frequently and destroyed the Heavenly Palace several times that we were chased out by the eldest senior sister. If I were to tell you, how embarrassing would that be? So you were chased out? Ning Tian rubbed his chin. How did you know? Yi Wuyo was startled. You said it out loud. Ning Tian spread out his hands. Yi Wuyo scratched his head and chuckled. Hee Junior brother, do you think I'm strong? Are you envious? It's my IQ. Oh right, you came here alone? Where are sisters-in-law and the others? Yi Wuyo looked at the deck and didn't see Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao. Oh them. Ning Tian looked inside the void ship and said quietly, they're too tired from cultivating, so they're resting inside the void ship. I see. Sisters-in-law are really motivated. Yi Wuyo heaved a sigh of relief. He wasn't wearing any clothes just now. If the 2 girls saw him like this, he might as well kill himself. Let's go, senior brother. Take this opportunity to return to the Heavenly Palace with me? Ning Tian looked at Yi Wuyo. Sure. This time, the eldest senior sister will definitely let me through the gates of the Heavenly Palace. Yi Wuyo nodded solemnly. After all, I only dismantled a little bit of the Heavenly Palace. 10 minutes later. Senior brother, this is the little bit of the Heavenly Palace you mentioned? Ning Tian's mouth twitched as he looked at the pile of ruins in front of him. On top of the ruins, there was a pitiful and weak house. Cough cough, don't mind the details, right, Sha Tian? Yi Wuyo coughed dryly. Roar! The ceiling flame Lion King roared. Let's go, Sha Tian. Let's tell senior sister that we've brought junior brother back. Yi Wuyo took a deep breath and mustered up his courage to walk toward the small house with the ceiling flame Lion King. Senior sister, Sha Tian and I are back. Come and see who we've brought back. Just as Yi Wuyo and the ceiling flame Lion King stepped onto the ruins, they felt a force before they could finish their words. Then, they turned into a shooting star and disappeared before Ning Tian's eyes. Ning Tian. It seemed like the 8th senior brother and the ceiling flame Lion King were blacklisted by the Heavenly Palace. Right at this moment, there was a slight change in the ruins in front of him. Author's note: 5 chapters. Consider it as making up for yesterday's issue. There will be a poll in the public account. Everyone can participate. It's about character illustrations. Public account, Gujiang. Chapter 623. Above the ruins, in the only house, a dazzling blue light shone around. Then, the house began to crack and began to collapse. Now, the only building was going to be gone. Husband, I think I heard a scream just now. I also heard Sha Tian's voice. That guy can speak normally now? At this time, inside the void ship, the two women slowly walked out. It's nothing, just a man and a lion were sent flying. It's not a big problem. Ning Tian waved his hand and looked over. A smirk appeared on his face and he couldn't help but tease. How is it? How do you feel after 2 days of adjustment? Are you still tired and painful? You shameless. Luo Wuqing blushed again and glared at Ning Tian. Haha aside. Su Yueyao stretched, her fox tail swaying gently, and looked at Ning Tian. It's okay, haha. Besides, Wuqing and I have made a breakthrough in our strength. Husband, if you want to have a baby you have to work harder. Ning Tian. Forget it. Don't worry about having a baby for the time being. Ning Tian pondered for a moment and shook his head. Hearing this, both women's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of doubt and they looked up at Ning Tian. It shouldn't be. How could this old, perverted man not think about this? Husband, do you have a fever? Luo Wuqing put her jade-like hand on Ning Tian's forehead. How can a heavenly god realm cultivator have a fever? Ning Tian smiled helplessly, then grabbed Luo Wuqing's hand and said slowly, just don't have a baby for the time being, but the process is still necessary. The reason why Ning Tian said this was because he had his own plan. At present, his strength was not strong, and a child was a burden for him. If he were to have a child, he would at least need to have the ability to protect the child. However, it was clear that he was far from being able to do so at the moment. Only when he was completely strong could he ensure the child's safety. If she was not strong and insisted on having a child, it would be an extremely irresponsible act. Amen. I understand. Luo Wuqing was stunned for a moment. She looked at the serious face of Ning Tian and couldn't help but stare blankly for a long time. Finally, she couldn't help but smile and sigh in her heart. This guy had grown a lot. Haha. Then in the future, I'll have to take precautions for my cultivation. By the side. Su Yueyao joked. Boom. At this moment, a loud explosion was heard. Next, the last house in the ruins collapsed, and at the same time, a cold energy spread out in all directions, and the ruins on the ground were crushed in an instant. The cold energy enveloped the entire void ship. Then, a huge divine ice palace rose from the ruins. As expected of eldest senior sister. This level of attainment in the law of ice is really terrifying. Seeing the cold energy form a majestic divine ice palace in an instant, Ning Tian couldn't help but sigh. In his mind, he thought of the stubborn girl playing with the ice blade. In the blink of an eye, 1,000,000 years had passed. He just didn't know. How was that girl Ling now? Little junior brother, come in. At this moment, Yi Shuang's voice rang out from the divine ice palace. A ball of blue light shone from the divine ice palace, and the tightly closed door opened for Ning Tian and the others. Let's go. Hearing this, Ning Tian waved his hand and put away the void ship. Then, he pulled the two girls and walked into the divine ice palace. In the divine ice palace, Yi Shuang and the others were already waiting in the palace. When they saw Ning Tian and the others, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Haha, little junior brother, you're finally back. Pei Hu laughed heartily and walked over to pat Ning Tian's shoulder. Little junior brother, welcome back. Wen Qing was as gentle as ever. She hugged her Pipa and smiled gently at Ning Tian. Hee. Now that little junior brother is back, I can let little junior brother try out my newly developed medicinal pills again. It's all 8th senior brother's fault. Clearly, 8th senior brother's courage is not as big as little junior brother's. Mu Xianqing pursed his lips and grumbled. Cough. Hearing this, Wu Chun and the others coughed dryly. He wouldn't die. But who knew what the side effects would be? Seeing that his senior sisters and senior brothers were still the same as before, Ning Tian couldn't help but smile at them. Going back to the past, the only pity was that he didn't meet his senior brothers and senior sisters. Little junior brother. At this moment, Yi Shuang looked over and her beautiful eyes fell on Ning Tian. How's the progress over there? Huh. Hearing this, Ning Tian was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but frown. He looked at eldest senior sister with a pair of puzzled eyes. His brain was working rapidly at this moment. What's going on? What does eldest senior sister mean? Could it be eldest senior sister knows that I went back to the past? How's your progress with the space law? However, just when he was a little doubtful, Yi Shuang spoke again. She looked at Luo Wuqing and Sui Weiyao beside her, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Things like the space law are difficult to control. You must be careful and not let the two sisters-in-law worry about you again. Huh. Space law? My mastery of the space law is not bad at the moment. Ning Tian was stunned again, but he was relieved in his heart. It turned out that eldest senior sister was talking about the space law. Eldest senior sister, don't worry. I will be careful next time and won't let my wife and the others worry so much. Ning Tian chuckled and hugged the two women in his arms, and said very seriously, never again. Hearing Ning Tian's words, the two women felt very relieved and let him hug them. Seeing this scene, there was a burst of sighs in the main hall. Wow, junior brother just came back and stuffed a mouthful of dog food into my mouth. Why did I affect your public display of affection? Pei Hu looked at the three of them with great heartache. He, seventh senior brother, you should be the one who has been single the longest among us, right? Even eighth senior brother is much better than you. At the side, Mu Xuanqing's eyes were filled with slyness as he looked at Pei Hu teasingly. Pei Hu's old face darkened. How can this be considered? That kid Yi Wuyo is a playboy. He's not good at all. Ha, at least he's half. Mu Xianqing laughed mercilessly. Ninth junior sister, you. Inside the hall, a group of people revealed a smile when they saw this. After a while, junior brother, do you still remember that I told you to control the space law? Yi Shuang looked at Ning Tian and asked. Ning Tian raised an eyebrow and nodded in confusion. I remember. Senior sister said that you need my space law. May I know what it's for? Don't worry, I'll make up for it tomorrow. At least 5 chapters. You can see the votes on the public account, but you need to draw Luo Wuqing's illustration first. I already made an appointment yesterday, but the artist will only be able to draw the illustration in a month. Currently, the artists are by Lu, Sui Weiyao, and Luo Wuqing. Chapter 624. Well, you'll find out soon enough. Yi Shuang kept him in suspense. She then looked at the group and realized that one of them was missing. She frowned and asked him, where's 8th junior brother? 8th senior brother? Oh. He and Sha Tian wanted to come in just now, but before they could finish speaking, they flew away. They're probably still flying now. Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and said slowly, Yi Shuang, the rest of the people in the heavenly palace, eldest senior sister, it seems like you forgot to lift the curse on 8th junior brother. Pei Hu said quietly, praying for poor Yi Wuyo for a second. Forget it. You guys take little junior brother first. I'll go and bring 8th junior brother back. Yi Shuang sighed and looked at Wenqing and the others. Yes, eldest senior sister. Wenqing and the others nodded and then looked at Ning Tian and the others. Little junior brother, come with us. Okay. Ning Tian responded and followed them with the 2 girls. The group went to the deepest part of the frozen ice sacred hall. Yi Shuang was the only one in the hall. Looking at the backs of the group, she couldn't help but frown and murmur, this is incredible. Everything reminded her of the figure that had appeared in the heavenly palace 2 years ago, shrouded in black. It's still the same. Nothing has changed. Yi Shuang murmured and shook her head. She then stepped into the void and prepared to bring Yi Wuyo back. In the depths of the frozen ice sacred hall, there was an endless staircase that led to the deepest part. Ning Tian and the others walked down the stairs step by step. Little junior brother, why aren't you curious about why we have to go down the stairs step by step? Under normal circumstances, wouldn't we want to fly? Why do we have to go down step by step? Seeing Ning Tian walking calmly, Mu Xianqing couldn't help but look over curiously. It's simple. Ning Tian chuckled, still holding the two women's hands. He glanced at the steps under his feet and said, "Every step contains the power of space. Only by stepping on it can the power of space be activated. If you don't step on a single step, I'm afraid that even if you reach the end of the steps, it won't be of any use." Ha ha! Ninth junior sister, it seems that little junior brother is much smarter than you in this matter. You should know that you didn't pay attention to the stairs at that time and flew out with a single step. TSK, you were directly trapped in the space. By the side. Pei, who finally found a chance to retaliate and couldn't help but tease. Ah! Senior brother. Junior brother still has two sisters-in-law here. Mu Xuanqing's face flushed red as she hurriedly told Pei Hu to shut up. Ha ha! Pei Hu laughed. On the side, Ning Tian, Luo Wuqing, and Sui Weiyao also watched with a smile. The atmosphere was harmonious with a hint of warmth, as if at this moment, everyone seemed to have forgotten that there was destined to be a battle between them. Let's continue. Honey, follow me closely, Ning Tian said as he tightly held the two women's soft hands and walked step by step to the bottom of the stairs. 10 minutes later, when everyone stepped on the last step, the surrounding darkness rippled like water. The space seemed to have changed at this moment as an invisible force enveloped them. Boom! Boom boom! The surrounding space began to change. Honey, hold on to me tightly. Ning Tian frowned and a trace of seriousness flashed in his eyes. Okay. Luo Wuqing and Sui Weiyao both nodded with a serious expression. They each held one of Ning Tian's hands and quietly circulated their spirit energy. Boom! Boom boom! The surrounding space flickered rapidly and the scene kept changing. Finally, a huge ancient bronze door appeared in the darkness before everyone's eyes. The ancient bronze door emitted a green halo that enveloped the group. Little junior brother, come with us. When Qing chuckled and walked toward the ancient bronze door with her pipa in her arms. When the 9 supremes of the heavenly palace walked over, Pei Hu placed his fists on the ancient bronze door and pushed it open. Boom, boom, boom. As the ancient bronze door was pushed open, the surrounding space changed again. The world spun as if they had come to another world. The world was blood-red and yellow sand was everywhere. Ning Tian and the rest appeared here. The surroundings were extremely hot, as if there was an invisible fire burning around. The surrounding spirit energy was extremely scarce, as if there was a pressure of heaven and earth. This is, looking at the surrounding scene and the yellow sand, Ning Tian frowned and looked at Wen Qing and the rest in confusion. The land of blood-stained yellow sand, or the first sealed land. Wen Qing said softly. The land of blood-stained yellow sand? The sealed land? Ning Tian, Luo Wuqing, and Sui Weiyao all looked over in confusion. Speaking of the sealed land, Ning Tian vaguely felt that this place was somewhat similar to the sealed land of the Big Dipper domain 1,000,000 years ago, especially this yellow sand. But yet, senior sister Wen Qing said, this was the first sealed ground. Could it be there are more sealed grounds like this? Moreover, since it was a sealed land, what was sealed inside? Most importantly, even 1,000,000 years ago, when he and Qin Luo used the heaven and earth cauldron to seal the item, he did not know what was sealed inside. Most importantly, the time energy had been fully charged before he could ask. He did not even have the chance to ask. Could there be a certain connection between the two? Or could it be the two were actually the same kind? Husband? Just as Ning Tian was frowning, Luo Wuqing, who was standing beside him, seemed to have noticed his uneasiness. She could not help but hold his hand. Although her beautiful eyes were cold, there was a trace of worry in them as she looked over. I'm fine. Ning Tian gave her a comforting smile. No matter what, no matter how complicated these mysteries were, they would be solved eventually. Husband, look at the sky. At this time, Su Yueyao's voice sounded from the side. Ning Tian was taken aback. He and Luo Wuqing looked in the direction Su Yueyao said. This is? When they saw the sky, both of them were stunned. They saw it in the blood-red sky. There was a strange red array that was so huge that it covered the entire sky. It was slowly operating, as if it was sealing the whole world here. This pattern, looking at the strange pattern on the array, Ning Tian frowned. He seemed to find it familiar. Little junior brother, this is the formation used to seal this space. When Qing raised her beautiful eyes, looking at the sky and said softly. And her next words made Ning Tian even more surprised. Chapter 625. This array has been going on for 1,000,000 years. 1,000,000 years? This array is a bit old. Hearing this, Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao were a bit surprised. 1,000,000 years was a very long time even for cultivators. However, at the side, Ning Tian's heart was in turmoil. What the hell, what the hell? This thing, could it be the one he and Qin Luo made 1,000,000 years ago? Damn. Maybe 1,000,000 years had passed. But, to him, it felt like only 10 days had passed. He had just stepped out of the array formation, and now he was back? At this moment, Ning Tian's expression was very strange. In short, this is a sealed place related to the dark turmoil. On the side, second senior brother Wu Chen said indifferently. A cold light flashed in his sword-like eyes, as sharp as a sword. Dark turmoil, Ning Tian frowned. Haha, don't think too much. When senior sister comes, she will naturally tell you. Pei Hu patted Ning Tian's shoulder and laughed. This is the first time you know about this. It's normal for you to be surprised. Maybe. Ning Tian murmured. Boom. At this moment, the sky changed again. 2 people and a lion slowly walked over. Yi Wuyo and the Lion King's ears seemed to be a lot redder. It looked like Yi Shuang was holding their ears and pressing them over. These 2 guys, I didn't pay attention, and they made the heaven region full of potholes again. Yi Shuang glared at Yi Wuyo and the Lion King. Cough. Senior sister, don't worry. I promise that Sha Tian and I will fill up those potholes. Yi Wuyo coughed and rubbed his red ears while promising. Roar. The Lion King also nodded in agreement. If you don't fill it up, then we will eat lion meat hot pot. On the side, Yi Wuyo said again. Roar. Roar. The flame-sealing Lion King was still nodding when it heard about the lion meat hot pot. It immediately reacted and looked at Yi Wuyo with horror and disappointment. 2 years. Was the friendship of 2 years gone just like that? 8th senior brother, don't bully Sha Tian. How can he eat lion meat hot pot? At this moment, Ning Tian shook his head at Yi Wuyo. Roar. Hearing this, the sealing flame Lion King's eyes were brimming with tears as it raised the wooden sign of I love ancestor. To be precise, it now has the Taotai bloodline, so it should be the Taotai hot pot. Ning Tian said in a serious tone. He didn't want to eat lion meat hot pot. He just wanted to help the Sealing Flame Lion King reveal its identity. Sealing Flame Lion King. Therefore love will disappear, right? Senior sister, this place is... Ning Tian ignored the crying little lion and looked at Yi Shuang with a solemn expression. Little junior brother, junior sister and the others should have told you that this is a sealed land related to the dark turmoil. Yi Shuang's pair of cold eyes landed on Ning Tian as she said slowly, Yes. Ning Tian nodded slightly with a bright light in his eyes. Looking at the blood-stained yellow sand, he said indifferently. So, senior sister, about this sealed land, how many more are there in the mysterious sky world? 4. Yi Shuang said slowly. There are actually 4? Hearing Yi Shuang's words, Ning Tian couldn't help but feel a little surprised. She looked at the vast expanse of yellow sand. It was easy to imagine how vast this space was. It was even the size of 3 fire domains. Such a vast space was only used to seal things related to the dark chaos. Moreover, there were 3 more such seals. Even the 2 girls at the side were a little surprised. With such a huge amount of spiritual qi, what exactly is the dark turmoil? Luo Wuqing's beautiful eyes looked at the sky. She couldn't help but feel curious, especially after what Ning Tian had said before. Her father was related to the dark turmoil. This made her even more curious about the dark turmoil. Sister-in-law, this formation doesn't just rely on the spiritual qi of the entire space to operate. At the side, Wen Qing gently said, every sealing formation has a guardian. Guardian? Ning Tian and the other 2 were stunned. There was no need to say more. The guardian of this array must be the 9 primes of the heavenly palace. But what about the other 3? Senior sister, what are the other 3 sealed lands? Ning Tian looked at Yi Shuang and asked. Little junior brother, actually you have already touched 2 of the 3 sealed lands. You don't know yet, right? Mu Xianqing looked at Ning Tian with a playful face and said with a smile. Ning Tian. What the hell? Why don't I know? My husband has touched 2 of the 3 sealed lands? Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao also frowned and were a little curious. You talk too much. Yi Shuang rolled her eyes at Mu Xianqing. Mu Xianqing scratched his head. One of them is the Furious Waves Deep Sea, Yi Shuang said slowly. The Furious Waves Deep Sea? Hearing this, Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. After a while, a light flashed in his eyes and he immediately blurted out, one of the 9 territories. The Endless Sea of the Firmament Territory. Endless Sea? Could that bastard be the guardian of the seal? Su Yueyao also thought of something and said. Sister-in-law, are you talking about the nether black tortoise? Yi Shuang chuckled, shook her head, and said indifferently, even in its heyday, the nether black tortoise only has the strength of a supreme ancient god. It is not qualified to be the guardian of the seal. Ning Tian. Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao. Why did it feel like a supreme ancient god was nothing in front of eldest senior sister? Is the nether black tortoise part of the seal? Ning Tian asked tentatively. No. The nether black tortoise is a lock. Yi Shuang corrected Ning Tian. A lock? Ning Tian frowned. When the nether black tortoise swam, he could hear the heavy sound of chains dragging. It seemed that the chains were not only used to imprison the nether black tortoise, but also related to the seal. But, isn't the nether black tortoise controlled by the people of the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth Collection? Ning Tian was a little puzzled. In that case, does it mean that the seal of the Furious Waves Deep Sea is controlled by the people of the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth Collection? Oh, junior brother, you even know about this? Yi Shuang frowned slightly. Yes, old Dao told me. Ning Tian nodded slightly. Back then, reincarnation Dao God said that the nether black tortoise was used by the almighties of the God realm to strengthen the entire firmament territory. These almighties were the people of the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth Collection. It seemed that the purpose of the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth Collection was far more than that. Chapter 6:26. Tao God Reincarnation? What a pity! If the demon tribe of the ancient god Cloud Atlas had not attacked the precept domain back then and forced reincarnation Tao God into reincarnation, his current achievements would have been far greater. Yi Shuang shook her head and there was a tinge of regret in her tone. Every reincarnation didn't mean that one's strength would increase. Although reincarnation gave you another chance to start over, it wouldn't give you a chance to increase your strength. It's a pity, But now that the precept domain is back on track, I believe that old man Dao will return to his peak. Ning Tian chuckled and immediately asked, Senior sister, is the seal of the raging waves deep sea controlled by the guys in the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth collection? Yes. Yi Shuang nodded. These guys won't trip us up? Hearing Yi Shuang's affirmation, Ning Tian and the other two looked a little serious. It wasn't the first time they had fought with the guys in the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth collection. From the ancient road to godhood to the 10,000 spirits demon lair. Ah, junior brother, don't worry, this won't happen. At the side, Pei Hu laughed. Those guys aren't that crazy to attack the seal. After all, they don't want to die. What's their goal? Ning Tian frowned. Their goal is the dark turmoil. To be precise, they're activating the dark turmoil behind the scenes. But how can this kind of power be obtained so easily? It's been millions of years, and they still have the same goal, but they've never succeeded. When Qing shook her head and said softly, activating the power of darkness and chaos. These guys are really ambitious. Ning Tian narrowed his eyes and sighed. Millions of years have passed, and the scale of the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth collection's development is getting bigger and bigger. Basically, every top force has integrated with the power of these guys. These guys are really annoying, they only know how to avoid our sky palace. Mu Xianqing pursed his lips. I wanted to catch one and test my medicine. Hearing about the medicine, Wuchen and the others silently took a step back. Then where is the other sealed place that I came into contact with? After understanding one of them, Ning Tian looked at Yi Shuang again and asked, the land of divine fall tribulation. Yi Shuang said indifferently, Ning Tian frowned. He didn't seem to have any impression of this? In the 9 domains, the heavenly spirit domain. At this moment, Luo Wuching, who had been silent at the side, opened her red lips and said, Heavenly spirit region? Ning Tian was stunned. Oh, so it's here. Sui Weiyao was reminded by Luo Wuching. Her pair of beautiful eyes fell on Ning Tian. It seems that my husband really lifted the seal twice. Is this the chosen one? Ning Tian. Therefore, am I the only one who doesn't know? I'm the ignorant one. Husband, the place that senior sister is talking about is the heaven's spirit domain's fallen god's land. Luo Wuching reminded Ning Tian. Land of the fallen gods? Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. He finally remembered. Wasn't the Buddha demon pagoda obtained from the land of the fallen gods? And the Buddha demon pagoda happened to be related to the dark turmoil. It turned out that it was there. No wonder I felt that the heavenly spirit domain was so small. How could it become a domain? It turns out that there is a seal. With a seal, there is a reason for it to become a domain. Ning Tian's eyes were glowing. With such a huge seal, the Almighty in the God domain would naturally make the heavenly spirit domain exist forever. The guardian of the raging waves deep sea is the ancient God Cloud Atlas. What about the land of divine fall tribulation? The 9 domains, there were also almighty existences? Well, Yi Shuang was silent. The eyes of the other people in the heavenly palace fell on Luo Wuching. My wife? Ning Tian frowned. No, could it be my wife's father? Qin Luo? Hearing this, Luo Wuching was also stunned. Yes, sister-in-law, it's your father. Yi Shuang looked at Luo Wuching and slowly said, Your father chose to be the guardian of the land of divine fall tribulation. First, it was to replace the old guardian. Second, it was to protect you. Luo Wuching's heart trembled and he was speechless. It turned out that her father had been silently protecting her in his own way. On the side, Sui Weiyao hugged her in her arms and gently patted her back. Ning Tian frowned and couldn't help but ask, a replacement for the guardian who has aged. In that case, Qin, oh no, my father-in-law has only been here for a few hundred years? After all, Luo Wuching had seen Qin Luo when he was young, and Luo Wuching had only been in the 9 domains for 100 years. Yi Shuang nodded. This, Ning Tian frowned. If this was the case, then Qin Luo must have seen him when he went to the land of divine fall tribulation. At this time, Qin Luo definitely knew him. After all, he didn't go to the past to change the future, but to promote the right future. Then, why didn't Qin Luo show himself? No, suddenly, Ning Tian realized something. When he was fighting with two demon experts in the land of divine fall tribulation, there was a sudden pressure that swept over the two demon experts. At first, he thought it was the pressure of the heavenly Tao, but now that he thought about it carefully, it wasn't. Because when the two demon experts stepped into the land of divine fall tribulation, the pressure of the heavenly Tao had already shrouded them. They were already under the pressure of the heavenly Tao, and it didn't wait for them to attack. So it seemed that pressure wasn't the pressure of the heavenly Tao. It was Qin Luo secretly attacked. Hiss, it seems that Qin Luo might have understood something at that time. A glint flashed across Ning Tian's eyes. His father-in-law had understood many things over the course of 1,000,000 years. I see. Then, is my father-in-law still in the heavenly spirit domain? Ning Tian looked at Yi Shuang and asked. Yes. Yi Shuang nodded. Ning Tian touched Luo Wuqing's head and said softly, Wife, after we've settled the matter here, let's go back to the heavenly spirit domain. You can reunite with your father and bring the Tianma cult of the 9 regions back to the God domain. Okay. Luo Wuqing nodded. At this moment, she had shed the cold outer layer and was lying in Su Yueyao's arms obediently. The current empress was just a daughter who missed her father. Of the 4 great seals, 2 are in the 9 regions, 1 is in the God domain, and the last one is in the God domain. Ning Tian said slowly. The 9 regions and the God domain belonged to the profound sky world. The places where the seals were located were balanced. Yi Shuang's beautiful eyes fell on Ning Tian, and a light flashed in her eyes as she said slowly, Yes, the last one is in the land of endless frost. I don't need to say more, junior brother should know where it is, right? Chapter 6:27. The Land of Endless Frost, the guardian of the southern frost starry sea. Is it the ice goddess? Hearing Yi Shuang's words, Ning Tian smiled bitterly. There was no need for Yi Shuang to say anything more. Yi Shuang did not deny it. Senior sister, what exactly is the dark turmoil? Ning Tian raised his head and looked at the blood-red sky and the enormous formation. He could not help but sigh deeply. It's darkness. It's devouring. It's also a kind of deprivation. Junior brother, do you see what's outside the seal in the sky? Yi Shuang sighed and looked at the sky. The expressions of Wenqing and the others in the surroundings were also somewhat unsightly. There was a kind of helplessness on their faces. Outside the seal? Ning Tian was stunned. The 3 of them looked at the blood-red sky. They circulated their spirit energy and looked carefully. What's that? When they saw that there were some strange humanoid creatures outside the seal that were constantly attacking the seal, the 3 of them could not help but be stunned. Those are void beasts, Yi Shuang said slowly. Chapter 603. Appearing once, void beasts? Beasts whose bodies have been sucked dry. Ning Tian probed. The 9 sovereigns of the heavenly palace. Junior brother, this void is not the void that has been sucked dry. The corners of Wenqing's mouth rose into a helpless smile. She shook her head and looked at those void beasts. A trace of pity appeared in her beautiful eyes. Those are transformed from people who have been devoured by the dark turmoil. Amen? Ning Tian and the others looked at her with puzzled gazes. The dark turmoil, once devoured by the dark turmoil, all life will be turned into nothingness. Not only that, the entire existence of those devoured will be erased. For example, if your loved ones are swallowed by the dark turmoil, then your loved ones will disappear from your mind. It will be as if your loved ones never existed in your world. The most lamentable thing is not death, but the living have forgotten that you once existed. Put yourself in their shoes and think about it. If your sister-in-law and the others were swallowed by the darkness, even if you were still alive, you wouldn't know that they once lived in your world. The saddest thing isn't that they died, but that they even died in your memories. To you, they never existed. Maybe, we once had someone very important to us who was swallowed by the darkness, but we didn't know anything, Wen Qing said in a gentle tone. Third senior sister's tone was very gentle. However, what she said was the most terrifying thing. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Tian and the two women broke out in a cold sweat. Ning Tian didn't even dare to think about the feeling of forgetting the love of his life. If that was really the case, then it would be too sad. Even the right to remember important people was taken away from him. As for the things that are devoured, they will be called void, by the side. Yi Shuang added, besides, this is only one of the things we know. Perhaps the dark turmoil will affect something else, but in short, we must not let the dark turmoil descend again. Ning Tian nodded heavily. A trace of solemnity flashed across his eyes. Yi Shuang said again, in the dark turmoil there were three things. If we have these three things, perhaps there is a slight chance that the dark turmoil will erupt again. A slight chance? Those three things? Hearing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. One tower, one heart, and one person, Yi Shuang said word by word. Hearing this, Ning Tian was completely stunned. One tower, one heart, one person. He seemed to have understood something about the first two. The so-called one tower and one heart, could it be the Buddha demon tower and the hearts of the three clans? These two had a great relationship with the dark turmoil. Ning Tian was only guessing. He couldn't be sure. However, if he knew that these two things were what the ancient god Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth collection was looking for, he would definitely be able to confirm it on the spot. After all, the ancient god Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth collection's goal was to activate the power of the dark turmoil. Coincidentally, the two things that were supposed to be in his hands ended up in Ning Tian's hands. 1,000,000 years of hard work was gone in an instant. However, who was this person? Ning Tian frowned. All right, junior brother. At this time, Yi Shuang's voice sounded again. Wen Qing and the others had already rushed to the blood-red sky where the seal was. We need your power to pull the heaven and earth cauldron that was originally suppressing this place back into the seal. It is indeed the heaven and earth cauldron. Ning Tian's eyes flashed. It seemed that this was the deepest part of the Big Dipper domain. The space stairs in the Sky Palace were a shortcut to the Big Dipper domain. Where is the heaven and earth cauldron? Ning Tian frowned slightly. Above us. Yi Shuang pointed to the sky. Above this space in the Big Dipper domain was the Big Dipper Tower? Ning Tian suddenly came to a realization. Yes, the heaven and earth cauldron is a super-divine artifact. It was born in accordance with all things and everything can change. After 1,000,000 years, the heaven and earth cauldron has also changed over the years and became the Big Dipper Tower today. Yi Shuang explained. Then, she flew toward the sky. Junior brother, follow me. Wife, you and Sha Tian stay here. It's my turn to perform. Ning Tian smiled at the two women. After that, he followed Yi Shuang toward the seal in the sky. Husband, be careful. The two women waited below. In the blood-red sky, 10 figures walked in the air. Junior brother, after we stabilize this seal, you use the law of space to pull the Big Dipper Tower down and let it suppress this formation again. Yi Shuang looked at Ning Tian with a serious face and said slowly. Okay, I understand. Ning Tian nodded slightly with a serious look. Ha ha! Junior brother, don't worry. Although you're not strong now, we'll lend you our divine power. When the time comes, it won't be too difficult to pull the Big Dipper Tower. Pei Hu laughed. Then, I'll have to trouble you. Ning Tian breathed a sigh of relief. With his current strength, it was indeed difficult to pull the heaven and earth cauldron that had turned into the Big Dipper Tower. Ha! Junior brother, take it? The 9 primes of the heavenly palace nodded. A faint layer of light appeared on their bodies. That was the initial power of the divine body. Under their guidance, the faint layer of light gathered toward Ningtian. Junior brother, if you can't withstand our divine power, just tell us. When Qing reminded him, I will. Senior brother, senior sister, don't worry. Ningtian grinned and gestured for them not to worry. Since you said so, I won't hold back. Yi Wuyo chuckled. Then, his body shone with golden light. His divine power erupted and charged toward Ningtian. Humph, Ningtian snorted. Damn it. This 8th senior brother is actually serious. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.